Listen, I've never had any problem expressing my opinions, but what we're doing here is bigger than that. These are conversations that need to be had in an unfiltered way. Drag racing's all I've ever done. It's all I care to do. I respect the history, I appreciate how far we've come, but I want more for this sport, and I'll fight for it. It's uncut, it's unfiltered. This is the show of shows. The biggest names in drag racing. No holds barred. This is the great American motorsport. Drag racing. Prove me wrong. I'll wait. Hey gang, Wes Buck here, Drag Illustrated Magazine, checking in. It is Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. Hope you're doing well. Remember, stop whatever you're doing. Do your boy a solid. Is that possible? Could we have like a one-on-one, you and me, just chat for a few seconds? We need more subscribers on this here YouTube channel. So if you don't mind, just take a second from whatever you're doing, right? You're obviously talking drag racing with us. Just take a minute and click subscribe. Join the movement. Help us spread the gospel of drag racing. We really appreciate it. It makes a huge difference, like across the board. You'll feel involved. You'll feel like you're contributing to this whole magical thing that's happening in the sport of drag racing right now. There's so many events that we can't even cover them all. There's so many stories to tell that I basically have to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to try to stay on top of this thing. It's absolutely bananas out here right now, and we need your help. So click subscribe, join the movement, be part of the Drag Illustrated family. We've got a hell of a show for you guys today. All at once, we're throwing down. I said, guys, I don't want to do this stagger step deal. I don't want to go 20 minutes with this person, 8 minutes with that person. I want them all at once. So we got big Richard Freeman, team owner at Elite Motorsports, joining us alongside the one and only Motorsports First Ballot Hall of Famer, the legend himself, Tony Stewart, and of course, drag racing superhero Matt Hagan. Both these guys, days removed from an absolutely incredible performance at the NHRA Winter Nationals in Pomona. Still seems weird to say the word Winter Nationals, or words, however you want to look at it. It's one word if you look at the NHRA glossary. Winter Nationals happening in April. But hey, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. Nothing like drag racing in Pomona, California. It's in many ways where this all started, right? I know there's some debates about that. We can talk about that on another episode of the show. But great to see drag racing show up and show out in Southern California. Tons of stuff going on in the sport. We got the IHRA finished up their second national event of the year. Scott Palmer getting it done. Tony Wilson getting it done in Pro Mod. Bubba Stanton getting it done in Outlaw Pro Mod. Dale Creasy Jr. There's just so much drag racing going on. But we got a hell of a show for you guys today, and I'm excited about it. But I got to catch up with the squad first. I gotta catch up with the crew. What's up, boys? You guys doing anything or just jacking around?
JT's definitely jacking around.
I was actually a little bit.
Are you in your like college dorm room, T? Or where we at, bro?
Basically, the house is a college dorm room.
Yeah,
really.
That's the man cave in the basement. And is that the golf simulator screen behind you?
Yeah.
So right now it's
doing a little
playing
double duty. Just some drag racing on it.
I get it.
Nice
Shoulders
setup
healing,
for
buddy.
T there.
I gotta get going.
How is the shoulder? For those that don't know, earlier this year, JT underwent a fairly significant surgery to repair his rotator cuff and reattach his bicep.
Yeah.
Then this is
blew his
interesting.
leg out.
Yeah. Shortly thereafter, blew out his ACL. But backing up to the upper body injuries, he then had a fairly significant surgery and decided, and this is where JT just really stands tall when it comes to like life choices, decision making. He goes, I'm going to manage my own rehab, right? that big contraption they sent me home with. We've all seen people wearing these things in the most
the air sling or whatever it is.
At Disney World, you got some dude walking around like in the whole can't move his arm thing, right?
Like you should have rescheduled your vacation type
with
of
a little
situation.
ball at the end of it, you squeeze on. Yeah.
JT, I'd like for a little update for the viewership here. How many times have you worn that contraption?
I wore it for the first couple days. An
Following
air sling, there's no air pockets on it. There's no Nike emblem. Like it didn't look cool at all. I got rid of it.
No swag.
Yeah,
No,
They didn't have camo
like,
pattern.
there's
or
no
anything?
way I'm wearing that.
Damn.
No. Yeah, no.
I could have
urban
hooked you up.
camo.
Try to put some stickers.
You
on
should
it.
have hit up Brian Mabutis at Eat Sleep Race and been like, "Hey,
I
man,
guarantee you,
I need you
he
to
would've-
make this bicep shoulder
Yeah.
recovery brace thing cool. Urban
make it look
camo,
like a Jordan 1 off-white.
Yeah.
Yep. He would have excelled at that. He had a Jordan 1 off-white like Jeep. Remember that?
Yes, he did.
That was
it was
awesome.
sick too. I should have bought that.
It was.
I got to find photos of it. I bought a Jeep Wrangler. It's a piece of shit compared to the one that Brian had, but I did buy a Jeep Wrangler for.
You
It's
just need
okay.
Mike to wrap it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the only problem with Mike wrapping it is driving it 2,000 miles.
Yeah, you'd have to maybe trailer that.
Mooresville, North
See
Carolina.
if it could catch a ride in a rig.
I can barely make it to the office in the Jeep. It shakes. It's windy. I'm like, okay, this is going to be like a cruiser, not interstate travel. Like this thing.
That's a good
but
idea.
anyways, my whole point.
We don't need to see you rolled over on
No.
I-20.
I-20 or I-30. There's a lot of opportunities to crash and get hurt badly on those highways right now. But I'll tell you, JT, a left-handed golfer. For those that don't know, JT's a lefty, right? Been swinging that thing left-handed for a long time. Gets shoulder surgery, and he decided, I'm going to start playing right-handed. Until,
just a little bit.
you know, I know. It's just hilarious to me that you're going to find a way to golf, right? What's your go-to drinking hand?
Left.
Okay.
So right. I mean,
Okay.
basically, if you put one in each, you don't have to decide.
Yeah, there
man.
you go.
Equal opportunity drinker. Doesn't
Good.
matter which
I'm telling
way,
you.
whatever way it's
And
coming.
we've seen that in action many times.
We have, man. We have. Well, I'm glad that
you were talking about the Winter Nationals. I was thinking
Yeah.
about this before we get too removed. The mountains back there still had the snow on them this weekend, if you noticed. So
I
it
did
still
notice.
gets that winter feel, and that's
As
not
long as
there
you get
when they
those
would
photos with the
roll back
snow
in the
cap.
fall.
As long as you get those photos with the snow-capped mountains.
Yeah, you got to. So
right?
it's still cold enough up there. They're good. They can still call it the Winter Nationals.
They can
Some
still
of the
call
worst-
it.
Some of the worst storms here are in April. Like you think spring's here, it kind of teases you, and then all of a sudden it just dumps on you.
Old
Yeah,
senior
because
editor at Drag Illustrated, Craig Cook, about got blown out of here. What was that, last night or the night before? Looks like they had a hell of a storm roll through Kansas
We
City.
got more coming through today.
Really?
Craig doesn't weigh very much. I was really worried about him. Like, dude,
Oh, his little ass
Go
will
get-
blow away.
yeah,
Get you
yeah,
some
go
weighted
get
shoes.
go get a belt. Find an old barn, strap it around you and some old pipes or something. Remember Twister.
Two
Get
belts
down in
is
that
what he
little
needs.
thing, in the
Two
little
belts.
shelter, like from Wizard of Oz.
Wear one belt, wear a second belt that is looped around something.
Right.
That's
Throw it in your Dodge Power Wagon
Yep.
next to Dorothy in the back.
Mhm.
Yep. You
The
son of a
new
bitch, you
Twister
stole
I
Dorothy.
thought was pretty good. Twisters,
It was
plural. I thought
It was good.
Dude,
It was
Didn't
really
we watch
Christian,
that
my
together
son,
in Vegas?
no, we did. Yeah, we did. And Christian went and watched it. And he's really, since then, he's like dead set. He's going to be a tornado chaser.
Oh,
Like
I
this
saw
dude
his
lives
TikTok.
for, his TikTok is chock full of meteorology and tornado chasing. He's found his
What is-
career.
What is Aaron Pippin to you, Wes, that I talk about on here every now and then that knows
He's
the weather
right.
better than
Pretty much everybody in
weather.
the Pippin family in Missouri is my family. So
Right.
he's my cousin. My grandma's maiden name was Pippin. So I think he's like my second cousin. Or
So, like-
Pippin like Scottie Pippen?
yeah.
Yeah. Something like that, but different.
Scottie Pippen,
He-
yeah, he's a distant cousin as well. You know.
Oh yeah. But he like predicts the forecast better than the actual
By a lot.
meteorologists around here. Yeah.
By
And
a
he's
lot.
a storm chaser
It's
and
like
he
a
goes
growing
live.
thing, man.
Yeah,
Like
he goes
YouTube
live
and
and
stuff.
does it, man. It's pretty cool.
Who's the
Yeah,
Mooresville guy? The one that you're in love
Brad
with?
Panovich.
Brad Panovich. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike's been talking about this dude 5-6 years. Don't even watch the local weather. You
No,
just
you
check
just
out
watch
his
him.
YouTube channel. Yeah.
Yep. That's what we do. I mean, not Brad's, but I
Yeah,
still
he had
think
one
that-
here, Storm Tractor, Texas.
I still think that Mike needs to be a meteorologist. He at least needs to give us.
Go full screen on Mike and work something out with the weather, Mike. Come on. Do it.
Oh
on the
man,
spot.
we're gonna do. Well, yeah, I haven't done my research for this weekend, but we got
Okay.
we got PDRA rolling into Galat down the road here in near Raleigh, which is
Use your hands more.
probably going to
Continue.
be. It's actually over here the other direction to the east of the Charlotte, and Probably going to be pretty warm. I think it's going to be warm here this weekend, and we'll see what those guys
Air
doing.
draw something on the screen.
Yeah, I don't have my thing. Hey, what's that show, JT, that you had us watching on HBO? The dude's a meteorologist. DTF St. Louis on HBO. If you haven't watched this show, I don't know that I can recommend it. It's quite odd and off-putting, but does center around a meteorologist also.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, go check it out if you're bored. But
I watched the Noah Khan. You guys know I'm a music dude. I watched the Noah Khan documentary on Netflix. Hell, man, I cried 3 times.
Who's that?
No way. You cried?
Wait,
who's
Noah Khan?
Yeah.
I don't know either, dude.
All right, guys, it's been real. I'm out. See you.
Right,
no clue.
No, Noah Khan is like a very popular, like folk pop folk kind of guy.
Oh, you're
60s in.
Yeah.
Is one of his main songs. Northern Attitude is a real. Homesick is a really popular one. Dial Drunk. I know you've heard that song.
No.
I'll dial drunk. I'll die.
I don't know how. We got to do a
you.
study one day to find how you have enough time to consume so much media, music, movies. It's pretty impressive, and do literally anything else. It's
technology, bro.
Yeah, I doubt it. Most of the listeners know what it is either. There's a way to put a poll on here, but I didn't. I didn't go through the whole learning process.
Bro.
Hey, dude, going back and talking about weather and actually talking about something related to drag racing, which we should probably do at some point.
You told me that you wanted to talk about more than drag racing, Mike. That was your idea.
Was that my idea?
I tried to introduce something else. Okay, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
Did you Gary Rowe has been putting up a gallery like every day of the transformation from Dunn Benson drag strip to Elite Motorsports Park, which is pretty damn impressive and crazy to watch that whole thing happen. But I got to confirm, but I didn't realize that place had like a cooling system under the track. It looks like when they first built it and there was all the plumbing being run and everything. It could be something totally different, but it looks to me to be a cooling system under the track. And I never heard of it being used or whatever.
I actually think I remember this.
And I have not heard anything about that since that track basically opened. And I wonder if like it didn't, they had trouble with it, or maybe something broke. And it's one of those things where like, you're just like, forget it, because it's so expensive to fix. But if you look through those photos, that thing had like a cooling system like what they did at Bandamere, I think. And probably there's several other tracks that have that too, right? What's another track that has that? You don't hear of it very much, and maybe I'm not up to date on it. Maybe it wasn't as effective as they hoped it would be.
Bandamere had heating and cooling, right?
Okay, answer me this
question.
Just had did Dunn Benson, whenever they rebuilt it as Galot, did they put one of those cooling systems under the starting line? Really? Okay, explain it and talk loudly.
Oh gosh, I wasn't there to see it, but they've got these heating and cooling elements.
Heating
at the
too,
time, and it may still be. I think Bandamere was the only other track in the country.
It's the only one I know of.
Right. Okay, and it probably still is. But when Dunn Benson became Galot, they put that same technology. I heard that the crew that built
is that Sophia?
Bandamere was commissioned to fly in and do the same thing at Dunn Benson.
I'm remembering that now. I think Larry Crisp and the Traction Twins were.
If I'm pronouncing it correctly.
No, I think you are. What do you make? We were just talking on the show about how Gary Rowe is posting all these photos of like Dunn Benson and the transformation to Elite Motorsports Park, and I guess now Durana Motorsports Park. When did you go for the first time to Benson, North Carolina? Some of my favorite photos are those. What was it? Red and white guardrails, red, white, and blue.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, red and blue.
Yeah. Roger Williams painted those. I think it was red and white, and he had a chain link fence with this bright yellow plastic circular. It was something where you could lean your arms on the top of the fence, and it would be more comfortable than a chain link fence.
Oh, that's awesome.
You had this bright yellow tube of a thing, and I believe
it was like
the
conduit.
guardrails were red and white. Could have been red, white, and blue, but I
think there might have been some yellow. Yeah, the yellow I'm remembering.
Yeah.
I've got to find some. I remember some of my
that gallery.
Photos for us to publish.
Yeah,
it's wild to see. those shots when you were going to the quick 8 stuff at Dunbenson. And
Sure.
yeah, man, what a moment. All right, Van, love you. I'll call you later. Thank you.
Love you.
All right, bye-bye.
Explain that we said hi.
Oh,
Yeah,
they said
what's
hi.
up with that?
He knows you're here. He knows you're. Oh no.
Yeah.
In
Well, what a
midst of the
transformation that
outline
place
monitor.
underwent, and then now it's Durana. It went from all the orange to green. No
What
shortage
do you guys
of
think
green.
of the green? It's a little much for me. It's a little over the top. But I get it.
I
paint all
mean,
the
it's
shit whatever color I want
as
it
a
to be, too.
he's committed to it as a branding strategy, so got to give him
Yeah.
that.
There's
no
some
doubt.
guy mixing pigments of paint in a factory somewhere going, what in the hell is going on? We didn't
Yeah.
sell this shit for 30 years, and now all of a sudden it's flying off the shelves. I mean, we can't even make it fast enough. What is going on?
That is hilarious.
That is
man.
true. That
It's
is
true. It is true. We got a minute to talk about video games. We got Paul from No Limit Drag Racing in the house. One of our longtime friends of Drag Illustrated. What up, Paul? I've actually been playing No Limit a little bit. I've also been playing Ghost of Tsushima or some shit on PlayStation. Are you familiar with that game, Mike?
Ghost of
Tsushima?
Tsushima. That came out like years ago.
Great game.
Yeah,
I got it
it's a great game.
recommended to me by a 12-year-old. Literally, one of Sophia's friends told me it was
It's
a
a
great
good game.
game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? So anyway,
I haven't played that in forever. I need to
There's a
check it out
sequel.
again. Oh, it's an
Paul's
update.
killing it
now.
on No Limit Racing, man. He's
Who is?
Paul. He's
Oh.
I mean, No Limit Racing. They're signing racers up and getting their cars in there, and it's a really cool deal.
Yeah.
Dude, now
they're
No
out
Limit
Hit
has
him up.
all the
Hit
crazy
him up.
cars.
He's got codes. He's got codes for you.
Oh yeah.
Shit. Yep.
I
Yeah,
like to
it's a
see
pretty cool deal.
Sophia. Y'all, Wes has music on. Oh, is this my daughter?
I think
Yeah,
it's
I
your
believe
wife.
so.
Oh,
think it's your
I thought
wife.
this was just some random
seems-
fan.
I think that's your wife, possibly.
It
She
did she
seems
say
to have
that?
intimate
Doesn't-
knowledge.
What? Yeah, she has intimate knowledge. This is, man, it's going hard in the paint.
I know. You can't.
have you seen
that's
Morgan
That's
Wallen?
like a slur or something. You can't use that
Yeah.
word in there.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. Are you still a big Morgan Wallen fan? Have you seen him live
Yeah,
yet,
dude.
Mike?
I haven't, man.
Okay, well, let's
He's
do
on
that.
tour again. We
Yeah,
got to
should go
do it.
see a show.
Puts
I
on a hell
wanna-
of a show, from what I hear.
I'm a big Morgan Wallen guy, for real. You know what I mean?
I'd go out with him some night. Hell, I'd throw a chair for him.
I know, dude. You and him, that might be a problem.
I'm
You know what
telling
I'm saying?
I'd
What else is
drive-
going on?
You know, I'm that guy.
Before we dive in to our guests of the day, which I'm obviously super, super stoked about. Let me see. Is Richard here yet? No, Big Rich
No.
ain't here yet. So we'll wait on him for a second. We got
That's
4
okay.
minutes or whatever. Overall, just, thoughts, feelings from the past weekend, as far as we've obviously got Pomona to cover with these cats.
Yeah,
but
we'll
let's
cover
talk,
that with those guys.
IHRA, big weekend, it looked like. First race at VMP, great to see some good racing, some guys getting in. I was really happy for Tony Wilson. Mike, you know Tony better than I do, but I've known Tony since, I guess I was first introduced to Tony when he started racing Top Sportsman in PDRA, nitrous racing, then moved into Pro Nitrous. And, I'm just, the dude's, I'm really happy for him. Partnering up with Ed Burnley, making, Burnley and company making the switch from a nitrous car to the centrifugal supercharged car, which we've talked about, ad nausea at this point. But just great to see those guys run good. Jason Harris,
he drove his ass off
too.
too. Yeah, I mean, if you look at Tony Wilson's reaction times, and he was driving his ass off, and really, Harris was, I believe, the number one qualifier, right, or somewhere near there, and had a bye at least one round, and you can't give a guy like Jason Harris a bye, but ended up in the finals with him and ended up beating him, and you never know what you're going to get from Tony. He's got the new Barney Willys, the nitrous powered Willys, that he's actually going to run next weekend here at NHRA Charlotte at ZMAX Dragway. So we're going to have
run a quarter mile.
He's going to run it quarter mile. So that's going to be really interesting to see. Ricky, I don't know what Ricky's up to. He probably has a good chance of being there. I haven't checked the entry list, but Ricky tends to pop up for the closer races like ZMAX. But man, it'll be interesting to see really anybody but Ricky with a nitrous car trying to compete on quarter mile in the NHRA Pro Mod Series. So something to look for next weekend.
Are they still running a clutch in that thing?
No.
Oh,
You're thinking of Edward Wilson that was running a clutch in that red Willys. that's been running IHRA and
He's been running
PDRA.
a clutch inside since.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a clutch
Jesus,
anymore, but he's still running carburetors. So it's
Yeah.
an automatic with carburetors. Ran like a 369.
Really?
But Tony's car, new Mooney car, all the latest and greatest Musi stuff. So it'll be really interesting to see what that thing does.
Man, impressive.
Yeah.
No doubt to see them running that good. Guys, we've got a lot of ground to cover, so we want to try to stay on task here. Remember, if you've got questions, comments, things you want to talk about toward the end of the show, we'll go to an open Q&A and we'll dive into whatever y'all want to dive into. But I want to take a quick second and give a shout out to our friends at Strange Engineering. For more than 50 years, Strange has been a household name among racers and crew chiefs, hardcore racing and performance, street driveline and suspension components that flat out get the job done. Rear ends, axles, brakes, struts, shocks. If it's under the car and it matters, Strange has you covered. Don't just race Strange. Learn more at strangeengineering.net. Guys, we've got the crew, the men of the hour, if you will, in the green room right now. Let's give it up a big warm welcome, right? JT, Mike, I'm expecting you guys to clap and be like animated during this, or it's going to make me look stupid and I'm going to be mad about it later. Not now, later. So give me a big clap, all right? The one and the onlys, Richard Freeman, Tony Stewart, and Matt Hagan. What's up, boys? Come on, big reaction.
Did JT
What's
clap?
happening?
Let me look. Hold on, Richard. JT, did you clap?
I meant to. Sorry, Richard. I will.
Yeah, you meant to. Nice
He was
hat, though.
kissing-
You're looking
exactly.
good.
He was kissing ass. As soon as I saw that hat, I go, oh, trying to kiss old Big Richard's ass. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? You doing well?
Great.
Good.
Yeah, I've
Everybody
just been
good?
trying to catch up from a long weekend. I mean, it's you know, it wasn't long from the standpoint. I mean, we were still in 3 days, but man, Sunday was basically felt like 2 days. I mean, so many delays and weather in the area. I mean, the thought of going to 2 races at Pomona and having to fight weather like that and shoot somebody during one of the rain delays was going. We were here a year ago at Pomona and had hail.
Yeah, I
at the
remember
spring
that.
race at the Winter Nationals. So just to think about how long a weekend it was, but man, to finish the day at 8:00 in the evening, Sunday evening, and not only to be standing there with a Wally in my hand and seeing my car owner who's sitting there who just got a big old chunk of crap that he just threw in his mouth. I saw you do it. Everybody saw you put it in there, Richard. So
Big old dip. He takes
big
them
old
man
dip in
dips,
there.
Tony.
But to see him come down there and seconds later, you see your teammate Matt Hagan come around the corner with arguably, most definitely the bigger of the 2 victories, winning the 1,000th NHRA funny car win. I mean, that is something that that's the way you finish off a strong weekend and a long weekend. So it made it all worthwhile.
It was absolutely incredible to watch unfold. I've got a question that I kind of want to throw specifically to Richard and Matt, and then Tony, I'll get your take on this. But I'm just curious, like, obviously this is a pivotal moment. There's been a lot of success prior to this, and obviously it's no secret, Tony, you've had a tremendous amount of success in other walks of the motorsports life. But I'm just curious, Richard, Matt, why don't you guys, what has it meant for the sport of drag racing that a person of Tony's stature chose this sport? Like, not as a dabbler, not to show up and run one race or some sort of exhibition, but as a driver and an owner. Like, what has that meant to our sport?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it real quick and then let Richard
Please.
chime in on it. But I did a show this morning, and the same question kind of came up, and it was like, what do you think about Tony? And honestly, God bless John Force and all the stuff that he's done for the sport. But I mean, not just because I work for the guy, but I really think, like, if I was a fan and outside looking in, it's like, that's the next John Force. I mean, that's who NHRA needs to attach themselves to, and figure out how long Tony wants to do this, and and really rally behind that. I think that it was kind of funny. Don Schumacher, one day when we were talking about Tony and him owning a team and different things like that, he says, not everybody knows who Don Schumacher is, but they know who Tony Stewart is, and so it just kind of one of those things. He's had a bigger than life, opportunity on the cup side of things where, there's such a huge following. And then to bring that here to the NHRA and be successful. I mean, it's one thing if you're just here and you're going through the motions, but Tony has aligned himself and put himself in a position and surrounded himself with so many good people and so many talented people that that he's had success. And you know, not just because he's on the show, but we all know he's a wheelman. You know what I mean? Like, and he does really well with, you know, taking information and applying it to the racetrack and then getting results out of that. And so you get those results on top of being, you know, successful in other aspects of other motorsports. And I think that if NHRA can't see that, man, we're in trouble as a sport anyway, you know. And I think Richard sees it as well. That's why they buddied up and teamed up and you know, to collaborate and use resources together. And I mean, look at this, man. Like, you know, three races in, they've already done what a lot of people have tried to do for years. You know, they already got a win pulled down and top fuel, and that's so hard, man. I think, Wes, you don't realize how hard it is to turn 4 win lights on sometimes. And it just, you know, you'll go through these weekends and there's only 20 of them to where like you get the opportunity to do this. And it's like, you know, as the season starts going on, man, you start biting your nails. You're going like, what do we got to do to pull down a win? And you can't buy it, right? Like, you can buy the parts and pieces, but you have to have the group around you, and you have to have the success and the dedication and the drive and the work ethic to make it happen. And when that happens and you turn 4 win lights on Sunday, that's something that no one can take away from you. You've earned that with a group of guys that just have gone out there and put it on the line, and you made it happen for yourself. So it's pretty cool. But that's my take on it. I'll let Richard chime in on it, but that's just what I see from being out here for the last 20 years.
Richard, I know you and I have had a lot of like off the record, you know, late night chats or whatever about just the difference that being able to say his name has made. And I'm not trying to embarrass you, Tony. I think this is worth noting, and we'll circle back. There's a place we're going here. Richard, share with folks what you can.
First of all, Tony doesn't act like any of. He's just a normal guy, right? And sometimes I have to tell him, "Hey, listen, man. Me and him have had conversations about, you know, is this really, you know, I get pissed off at so and so or whatever." And at the end of the day, Tony's just like we are. He's a racer. He's like Matt. He's like Erica. He's like all the rest of them. Leah, you know, I watch them. They worry about their lights. And at the end of the day, I'm on the other side of the fence thinking, my God, like Matt said, what Tony brings to the table for not only TSR, Elite Motorsports, but for the sport of drag racing is just, it's huge. Not only can he drive a race car, he's a fantastic person. I sent him a text the other night, or yesterday, actually, after we got home at 4:00 in the morning. But at the end of the day, Tony's he's a good friend. He's a good friend to Matt, which there's a whole lot of stuff going on right now. I mean, Matt and I just had a phone call 15 minutes ago about a B2B opportunity. That's what's going on behind the scenes. That the camaraderie between our programs and what you saw on the starting line when Tony won that round, that says it all.
I couldn't agree more, Matt. I can tell you can't hear Richard.
Yeah, I couldn't hear, but I can hear you now.
We'll address it. Tony, could you hear Richard?
No, and part of me kind of thinks that might be a blessing in disguise, to be honest. I mean,
it might be, but JT and Blake are working on it in the green room. But as long as I guess we can hear you guys can hear me, I can keep this thing going. Richard was basically just saying that it's unbelievable the doors that this has opened, and just in the fact that behind all of that, Tony, and this is what I hear consistently, and it's been my experience with you, willing to dive in, don't look down your nose at anybody, treat everybody the same. Like, I've always measured human beings by like their consistency. Like, if I know I can walk up, it's just kind of my rule of thumb. How you treat my wife and how consistent are you? And I think that that's like a superpower in this world we live in. I don't have to wonder when I walk up to you, am I going to get the cold shoulder asshole version, or am I going to get the dude? You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people, unfortunately, in all walks of life that kind of have that. You got to know, get them when you can. And I think that consistency that you've delivered, and it seems to be a part of your just daily operating system, is impressive. I wanted to ask Matt if you can hear me, and we'll move on from embarrassing Tony here. But Richard spent a lot of his time just talking about the good human being, that Tony is and the good friend that he has been, and that nothing probably said more about this past weekend than that reaction on the starting line. And this is one of the things that I hate for you drivers, that you don't get to be a part of that. Like, it just breaks my heart, because you got people falling down on top of each other, tears being shed, like the whole bit. I've often joked that there's nothing quite like that ride down the return road after your driver wins, like on the golf cart. I wish every drag racing fan could experience that ride. You know what I mean? Of just this basking in the glory of what we just accomplished. Because Matt's right. It's hard to win 4 games of tic-tac-toe in a row, let alone a Top Fuel drag race or a pro stock race, right? Or a funny car race, or any of this shit for that matter. It's hard. This deal's hard.
Well, that's the thing for me. Like, you know, I with Chloe, with doing our social media, you know, it's one of the things, like, in the finals, please just, I don't care what the car like runs or scoreboard or anything like that, just get our guys celebrating, because that's something that you don't get to experience with them. You're over the other end going 300 miles an hour, and you see that wind light come on, and you're just, you know, like Tony said on his interview on TV, it's like you're wore out from excited, celebrating in a car. And it's just like but you miss that with your guys, right? Like the guys that have, blood, sweat, tears that weekend, man, just put it all in there. And, and some of that may be lost a little bit by the time they get up there, but they're still super excited to see you and super excited to pat you on the back, and you're doing the same thing. But, man, I mean, I don't know what it would be like if you could really experience all that at one time. I mean, it would just be sensory overload.
Well, with your big ass, somebody would get hurt, is what would happen.
I headbutted Kelly on accident. One time I won, and this little, Kelly is our GM, man. She's teeny tiny little gal,
for those that don't know.
And I was grabbing her and I was shaking, and I was like, she gave me a reaction time, and obviously with a helmet, it's a little bigger, and I just like headbutted her on accident. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then the gal that does the top end interview on the with the TV and stuff, she kills it all the time. I was over here shaking her one time, and I grabbed her boobie on accident, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to grab your boob." You know what I mean?
You didn't do that on
super
accident.
cool, but like it was just, I was like, "Oh man," but just too much sometimes.
I watched the behind the scenes video, and I got to give a tip of the cap to NHRA. They started doing this last year, and I go, man, thank you, Jesus. Like, just because so much of the great stuff that happens in our sport and the humanizing parts of it don't happen between those concrete walls. It happens down there on the big end. It happens in the pits. It happens in the staging lanes. And so I've been glad to see NHRA really lean into that behind the scenes type of stuff. But damn, you didn't want to take your helmet off, Matt. They were having to like talk you into it. You're down there running around and like, hey, Matt,
I wanted to see everybody. I was trying to talk to Caps, and I was trying to talk to Tony, and then Leah comes up, and then you got Richard up there, and it's just like you don't have time to get undressed, man.
No, it was absolutely fantastic thing. And I'll tell you that it's, to me, that saying, what's it from the Ben Affleck movie? I love it. Act as if, right? Like act as if. I think it's, in some instances, that's good advice. But on the starting line, I want to see you guys act like this is the first one. And I think that that's something that, I can't take my promoter hat off of. But like, if we don't demonstrate that we care, we can't expect anybody in the grandstands to care, right? It starts with us. And if we're not excited and we're not wound up like Physic woodpeckers and breathing hard and all that stuff, demonstrating how much this stuff means and how hard we worked for it, we can't expect anybody else to show any interest. So I tip my cap. Like when I saw the Coletta guys start doing the mosh pit on the starting line, and I know NHRA kind of tried to pour cold water on that. Like, let's calm down. I'm like, fuck that. I want to burn the joint down. Hand somebody a Fusee and a can of gasoline. Let's set something on fire, because we need people to know how hard this is and how much it means to us when it happens. Richard, 3 races into this whole process, and I'll try to fill Tony and Matt in on what Richard says here while the guys try to fix this audio thing. But 3 races in, you told me this yesterday on the phone. I'm going to make you repeat yourself, but like, new parts. And I mean, you obviously bought this team from Josh Hart, and it was world-class stuff. I mean, I don't think it's any secret at this point in time that if Richard Freeman and Elite is involved, it's going to be first-class stuff. We're going to do it right. But putting the people in place, I mean, did you anticipate success this soon, or were you kind of prepared for some of those old going pro stock racing with a Dodge motor days?
No, it's Mike Green and I had this conversation yesterday, and first and foremost, it's all about personnel. And I believe that in everything that I've done. And having the opportunity to have Mike Green, Joe Barlam, and the group that they've assembled there in Indy around Tony and myself, that's a testament to what we do. Same parts. Yes, we got a couple of new cars, but at the end of the day, those guys did that. Did I expect to win in the first 3 races? No, but it doesn't surprise me. Not at all. Those guys are fantastic. You know, I sent a text after we left the track, just thinking back, and I sent it to the whole group, the whole Nitro group, and I said, listen, my biggest fear of owning a Nitro team was making sure that I surrounded myself with the right people. And this cemented that in to knowing that absolutely it was 100%. Every decision that was made was the right decision. And I couldn't be more proud.
It's crazy, man. I was telling you yesterday that's like I've known you for 2 decades now. And it's like, I don't know that when you were running IHRA Mountain Motor Pro Stock or doing the comp eliminator stuff, I don't know that either of us could have ever imagined a world in which you'd have the biggest operation in drag racing, if not all of motorsports, and be doing it at the level that you are today. I couldn't be happier for you, Richard. Seriously, it's a surreal thing to see. And this, Tony, I want to throw this to you real quick. And what Richard was basically just saying is it's people, people, people. Mike Green, the whole crew, he was not at all surprised that you guys have had success this early. Didn't necessarily expect it, was prepared for a tough road to hoe, but not shocked based on the humans involved. You've built a lot of teams, Tony. What have you, I mean, you said it in your post-race interview or maybe pre-race that like I can sense that we have the right things in place. Can you just 3 races into this process, I guess the proof's in the pudding, my friend?
Yeah, I mean, I've been around a while. I'm not young. You know, I'm 54 and been around racing for 47 years. And I literally told Richard, I got him off to the side, at the end of the day on Friday. And I said, I'm telling you, bud, I said, it's here. I said, all the ingredients are here to be successful. You have the right parts, the right cars. I mean, we got PBRC chassis, we got right parts and pieces. And most of all, like Richard said, the right people. And, the first day down at the first day of testing at Gainesville, I went back to the Airbnb with Leah and she's like, what's the matter? I said, it was a total shit show today. And it really was, in all honesty. I mean, you have all these new guys that haven't, some of them had worked together before, some of them hadn't, but a bunch of it was because Richard had put a plan in place to put these guys in different positions than what they were accustomed to and for a purpose. And so when we talk about it's about people, it really starts at the top. It starts with Richard's vision and how he approaches not only the success of his own race teams, but what he feels like needs to happen for the health and the strength of the sport as a whole. So it starts with Richard's leadership. And then you bring in a veteran crew chief with Mike Green and Joe Barlam. I mean, Joe and I raced against each other in the late 90s in the Indy Racing League. I thought Joe was an IndyCar guy. I had no idea he had such deep roots in drag racing till I got here with Leah and Matt. And but you put those 2 guys under Richard's leadership, and the great thing about Richard is he creates an environment that makes these people excited about their jobs, makes them excited to come to work, makes them excited to work with each other, and really gets these guys on board right out of the gate of, we're all pulling one rope together. We got to pull it the same direction. And that's what's happened. And so I agree with what Richard said. Yeah, I knew going into the, Friday night, I knew we had everything we needed. And I told him, I said, it's just a matter of time. I don't know when it's going to all happen, when it's all going to click, but I'm telling you, all the people and parts and pieces are in place for this to be successful going forward. You can't predict it, and shit, nobody knew 48 hours later I was going to look like a genius looking into a crystal ball. But I've been a part of enough programs. You can tell with people, you can tell with the confidence of them. Those crew guys are doing an amazing job. I mean, you got guys like Dustin Davis that have been around a long time, and Dustin coming over to this program brings a lot of knowledge and leadership, and so he's kind of like a father figure outside the trailer there, working with these guys. And there's veteran crew guys, and then there's some really young greenhorns that are in the group. But it's fun to watch how they've all gelled together. have got confidence in themselves and now have confidence in their teammates. And I talked to them really late Sunday night. You know, Richard was gone. Everybody was gone. We literally left and went to In-N-Out Burger and closed an In-N-Out Burger down just down the street. But before that, I got them all together, and I told them, I said, listen, guys, the first day of testing was a shit show. And I said, look what you guys have done in such a short amount of time as a group, as a unit. It wasn't an individual. It was the entire team, the entire group. And again, it starts with Richard's leadership. So, you know, when you put great people together, that great things are possible and great things can happen. And, you know, here we are 3 races into the season. And, you know, if you talk to Joe and you talk to Mike, they're going to tell you, we still got a long way to go to get it really right and get it really dialed in. But every time we make a run down the racetrack, whether it makes it or whether it goes afoot and smokes the tires, they're learning this new package, new pieces and parts that they're not familiar with. And every time you give them an opportunity to look at data, they're just getting stronger and stronger. And it's literally like watching a snowball get kicked over the lip at the top of a hill. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and gaining momentum. So I'm very, very proud of what Richard's put together. And, you know, to have a partner like R&L Carriers that have come on board. And I saw something come across the bottom of the screen from an R&L employee. That has been some of the best parts of it. I mean, over 3 races, we've got to visit with R&L employees in hospitality and talking to Brent on the ride home Monday, you know, talking to him about how excited we are. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I've met people that have been working for R&L for 6 months, and I've met some of them that have been working for years. And just to see how excited they are about this program and see the success that we're having this early, that's the icing on the cake for us. You know, when your partners are happy and they're excited about being a part of this program, it is one giant unit working toward the same goal to make this all successful, and it takes everybody involved. And R&L's been a huge part of that.
I'm hoping, you know, I'm really grateful. Like, I find myself going, like, we're so blessed to have the brands that we do. I know there's always, you know, we can always complain and we can always want more, and we obviously need more sponsors, but like the fact that we have some really incredible, serious, like Fortune 500 brands involved with what we're doing here, I think it serves as evidence that there's opportunity in this space. And when I see them rally around you, like they have, to me, like, I can't imagine anything that would be more, you know, important for me as a leader of one of those major operations than to create something that my people can rally around. Because a lot of times you're dealing with shit, you're getting pulled over, you're dealing with log books, you know what I'm saying? You're going to a weigh station and getting hassled by some asshole. But like, if you can pull over somewhere and watch that final and know that that's my guy wearing red or green and white, like, to me, I hope people learn from the successful case study that has been provided, not just in the last few months, but the last few years with R&L's presence in the drag racing space. Richard, I'm going to throw it to you real quick. What did you learn during, you know, 12, 15 years of building a pro stock superpower that prepared you for this? I know you're a note taker like me. We're both legal pad guys. Was there something that you went into nitro racing going, okay, I learned that we can't do this. I learned that we should do this. What about your pro stock team building experience at one point, 10 pro stock operations, damn near. What about that prepared you for this moment?
The same thing I said a while ago. People. It's 100% about people. And and
that means being prepared to like make a hard decision if it needs to be made, right?
100%. And we can walk through all kinds of things like that, but I wouldn't be running Top Fuel right now if it wouldn't have been for Tony. Him saying, hey, if you'll build it, I'll drive it. We need to make sure we get the right people. And he pushed me to do so. Buying the stuff from Josh Hart, we knew it was good. And I have to give a shout out to Alan Johnson Performance because, you know, I will tell you, in the world that I live in pro stock, you cannot, you've heard me say this, you can't go out and buy it, right? We have the same parts and pieces that Alan Johnson runs in the Coletta cars. And it means a whole lot to me to know that I can go into a race weekend and I know I have the stuff to compete with. And that's the real hard part about pro stock, where, you know, a lot of it is what they call proprietary. And you've heard me say that. I don't like it. I've never liked it. I want everybody to have the same thing, and may the best man win. So I couldn't say enough about AJ and what he's allowed, and we appreciate that as well. So
How important do you think that is? And we can go around the room. Matt and Tony, I know you guys still can't hear Richard, he talked about giving a shout out to Alan Johnson and the fact that it's an incredible thing that we have a pro level motorsport where you can call and order the latest, greatest stuff and know you're going into a weekend where you've got the same stuff that, for an example, Coletta Motorsports has, right? You know that you're not going in with racing against people that have some proprietary advantage. And I mean, I think collectively, do we all see that as a huge growth opportunity for our sport? Because the thing that I have, and that's what I think, you guys know, it's no secret I'm a big pro mod guy, right? But I think the real magic to pro mod has just been the accessibility and the pathway to success being kind of written out. If you make, you've still got to put it all together. To your point, Tony and Matt, it's not automatic, but you can be in the hunt with a dozen of the right phone calls, right? You call the right blower guy, you call the right chassis guy, you get the right tires, the right torque converter, you get a package from somebody. And as long as you halfway know what you're doing, you're going to be close. You're not going to run at the front necessarily, but you're in the conversation. And I think that's especially important when you consider the cost of admission to drag racing, right? Because one of the things I've seen people really struggle with, some of my mentors, they go out, spend $5 million or whatever, get their teeth kicked in for 2 or 3 years and go, fuck this, I'm out. Like, no chance. I'm done on down the road. And that's terrible. Because, the hardest part is getting someone interested. You know what I mean? Like, once you've got a hook in them, man, they're here. They're in the casino. We just need them to start gambling, right? But they've got to win a couple times. They got to get a taste. They got to taste some sort of success. And how many team owners have we seen come into this space and quickly leave with their tail between their legs because they weren't able to get their hands on what that guy has, or they can't get their hands on 8-year-old tires, right? That nobody else has, or, wild stuff like that. So I think it's a credit to this whole group for really driving that forward. Matt, I'm curious, you've been a part of championship winning operations with Don Schumacher, right? You've seen this from a multitude. What have you, are there parallels that you see? Yeah.
I think it's so easy to get caught up in all the latest great. And I'm definitely, have myself, being at DSR for so long and having, a machine shop and being able to kind of, these crew chiefs invent anything they want to, and it be proprietary and we kind of keep it to ourselves. You think, man, we got the latest, greatest stuff, and then you get to the racetrack and the weather conditions are bad or somebody oils down the track. And then you're thinking that you get so spooled up about making more power and all these other things. But then it comes down to just applying the power that you have to the racetrack. And I think I always tease my crew chief, or we kind of poke back and forth because I'm a big guy, and I just kind of, they're always like, you got to lose some weight, and this and that. And I was like, well, bud, I ain't done it in 15 years. I probably ain't going to do it the next one. But, it's kind of one of those deals where it's just, I was like, it's like throwing a sack of feed on a locomotive. You know what I mean? Like that locomotive doesn't realize that 50-pound sack of feed's there. We make more power than we could ever apply to the racetrack. If we put another 100 pounds on me, you're telling me that you can't get this car to smoke the tires? I think you're foolish. And don't get me wrong. I think there's some merit to it, right? It takes more primary to get things going. There is some things there. But what I'm saying is it's so easy as a driver, and I've seen team owners and everything else, they get so caught up in we have to have the latest, we have to have the greatest, the fastest, these cylinder heads and that kind of stuff. Now, I do think that it applies more on Richard's side with the pro stock side of things, and being naturally aspirated and all this other stuff.
For sure.
But when it comes to a fuel car, I have yet to see a crew chief go man, we're out of power. I don't know. You know what I mean? Not once in 20 years has that ever happened. I've never come in there and they're like, bro, that was it. You know what I mean? Not once. So as much as I think that the technology and the latest, greatest stuff is very important, I do think that we run it, you get to these racetracks and you show up and you're going man, we're pulling it back. We're pulling it back. We're pulling it back. You know what I mean? And you will get these hero runs where it's just all right, man, I'm glad we got the big fuel pump on it. And, all this stuff is dialed in and everything that you're supposed to do to make those hero runs. But when it comes down to racing and winning races, I think it comes down to being a good crew chief and making good calls and not racing the guy beside of you and racing the racetrack and what it's going to give you underneath you and pushing that limit. We have there's a lot of times when I've told Newt, being a new crew chief, we have a track guy for a reason. He goes out there and pulls grip, and he lets us know the temperature and what we can and where we should burn out and where we should stage the car and what rubber's good here and there. Let's use that lane. Let's not worry about who's beside of us. Like, let them race their race. We're going to race ours, and let's race the racetrack. And I think sometimes you get in that mindset of like, you have to just always throw down, but that's ego, right? Like, you know, when right now I got a group of guys between Phil Schuler, Mike Knudsen, Alex Conway, and the guys that we have put in the car together, there is no ego involved. And Tony, there's no ego there too, man. He just wants us to show up and do the best job we can and represent our sponsors the best way we can and turn as many win lights on. There's not a, you know, beat on my chest and I got to do this. And, you know, so the group that we have together is just unbelievable. This is something that in the last 20 years of my life, I've dreamed of having a group like this, and Tony's made it happen, you know, and they're doing the same thing over there with Elite. And, you know, just to watch this whole thing come together, it's unbelievable, man. Like I truly never, you know, we've had I've had so much success out here, and, you know, and I'm very, very blessed to be around a group of guys that we've been able to stay together for a long time. But I've never had what we have right now. And that's what's exciting to me.
It's a crazy thing to even watch from afar, like to see this arrive and kind of how quickly it's escalated, how much like across the board collaboration. I mean, because this is a kind of a unique situation. Tony, you own your own team. You got wifey Leah behind the wheel of the hot rod, holding it down. You've obviously got Matt in the funny car. Richard, like, what has this pooling, you know, the Elite you know, plus TSR alliance, what has that, do we feel that's producing results immediately? Were you able to hit the ground running in ways perhaps you otherwise might not been able to by way of this kind of marriage across the board? Tony, I'll throw it to you.
You would like to say yes right out of the gate with that, but the reality of it is, I mean, we run different parts at TSR. So we've stayed with Schumacher and their machine shop group, and we got great products and great pieces and parts from them. So I think where some of it's apples and oranges, you know, the AJ package that we have with Elite is different than what we have with the DSM package over on our side at TSR. So some of that doesn't necessarily always apply, but definitely the sharing of information with the crew chiefs. And I think it makes it organically really easy. I mean, you've got Mike Green and Neil Straussbaugh that worked together for so many years with Tony Schumacher. They already have that relationship and that trust with each other. And now they have the opportunity to share notes. And not all those notes, like we said, don't always correlate between the two cars because of the packages. But I mean, you look at what Coletta's done. I mean, it's brilliant. I mean, you look what they do with their top fuel program. They got two cars they're going to run every session. They get two sets of data. They get two swings at it. They know what they're going up there with. If the first car has a problem, it gives them an opportunity to make a last-minute adjustment on the second car and try to resolve the issue. So for us, I feel like it's somewhat the same, and that's going to grow and get better over time. It's not going to be right where they were at. But, you know, that's the concept of it is, you know, it started as a marketing alliance, which goes back to what we were talking about sponsors a minute ago, and Richard having a vision of pooling our assets together, which, I mean, I've never heard anybody think that way. It shows how smart Richard is in thinking outside the box and thinking about the industry as a whole of what can we do to take what we have, put it in a pot together and sit there and now take this whole package to partners. And it doesn't matter whether it's a partner that can spend $50,000 or a partner that can spend $5 million. We have a spot for them and have somewhere for them to go to be a part of this whole program with us. But no matter what, you're going to be a part of the entire program. So what we've been able to do there just translates to what we're now doing with the race cars too. And I do think it does help. I mean, it definitely having those guys, when you can sit there and take your run and go over, you know, Mike can go over and see Neil at our trailer and they can sit down and talk about what's going on and vice versa. Those conversations may not produce anything immediately, but it creates conversation that makes these crew chiefs think a different way and see it from a different angle sometimes from having somebody on a different side come in and look at it from a different angle. So I think it's a really smart way of doing this. It's, you know, you're going up, I mean, I think everybody looks right now at Coletta as the benchmark, especially on the top fuel side. I think the funny car side is still up in the air on really who's grabbing the ball. You know, the JFR side's been so strong for so long, and they still got two very, very strong teams. But some of those elements got fragmented over the winter and dispersed other places. So the funny car side, I feel like, is up for grabs of who that next dominant team is going to be. But on the top fuel side, for sure, I mean, Colette's the benchmark. That's the guys that we got to go out and try to beat. And knowing that they have a 2-car operation, being able to take our 2 teams and marry them, so to speak. I mean, like I said, not all the parts and pieces are there the same, but having the approaches and the great minds talking about it, I think that's what's helped us a lot as well.
Be there, no doubt. I mean, from the business side, Richard, one of the things, we've talked about this forever, is like bringing people into our network, into our orbit, connecting the dots. One of the things I've heard a tremendous amount here in the first, part of the season has been the new Elite TSR hospitality. Richard, we both are kind of guilty of being dreamers. We've spent more than probably should have on a couple of occasions together because we want our shit to be nice. We want it to be badass. But tell us about like the business side of this and how bringing all these people together, these drivers, these different teams and different parts of drag racing together under one umbrella, and then having that presence in the pit. I mean, I've heard a lot of comparisons to like Formula One or IndyCar level hospitality that's never before been seen in drag racing, which to me is just another positive indicator, because that's where the whole sporting world is going. I mean, if you follow Wall Street Journal or Sports Business Journal, they're all talking about nobody wants to sell a GA ticket anymore. They want to sell an experience. They want people, they don't want to sell a $50 ticket. They want to sell a $500 or $1,000 ticket. And they know what comes with that. But I mean, what part of this just kind of elevating the at-track experience, the in-the-pit experience, what kind of, how's that been received, and what do you make of it so far, Richard?
It's amazing. First of all, a lot of our partners, while the race car and the racing is very important, it is down the list from what we're doing in the pit. And one of the things that we did is I wanted it to look different. I wanted it to feel different and be different. And it is. When you walk over to our deal, we can brand that thing anything we want. We call it Elite All Access. But I think that's just a start. That's where I wanted to go. I believe down the road that needs to be separate from where we are, and not necessarily right in the pit area, just to elevate it even further. But as of right now, we couldn't be happier with what we've done with Chef Cody and the TPI group. Our food is amazing. The presentation is amazing. And having that in between a pro stock car and the top fuel car with Tony was something different. It's something that NHRA absolutely said, hey, this is different, but we want to see how it works. And 3 races in, I believe it's unbelievable.
By all accounts, Tony, you've seen the sport of drag racing from a lot of different vantage points. I've often argued that I think our on-track product in drag racing is second to none. I mean, obviously, I'm biased. I was born and raised here, right? But I stand by it. But what I felt our sport has struggled in is everything else, like the shoulder programming, so to speak, the production, the pomp and circumstance, the hospitality, all those things that I task myself every year with going to other sports. Like I've seen a lot of drag races and I love to go, but I'm not going to learn anything if I just keep going to those. So I go to Red Bull events, I go to NASCAR events, I go to IndyCar events, I go to bull riding things because I just figure there's something I can steal from them, right? And one thing I have continually seen elevate is that VIP or the hospitality experience. Having seen the sport, in every shape and size, how important do you think that elevated experience is to like the future of what you guys are doing in the NHRA and the NHRA as a whole? Is this something that you think other teams could eventually wrap their heads around? I know the expense is tremendous and it's hard sometimes for people to wrap their head around the ROI, but I believe it's there. But it maybe doesn't happen overnight. But I'm just curious, what's your kind of take on that elevation of our sport in terms of presentation?
Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, you have to invest money to make money. And, when I came in, I came from multiple different forms of motorsports. And so when I came in, I wasn't trying to make a big splash when I came in. I wanted to come in and just kind of fit in and kind of do what everybody else was doing until I got my feet wet and understood how things were done. But 5 years into it now, and 6, I guess on our 6th year being around this sport, that's why Richard and I have such a good connection with each other. I mean, we think alike, and sometimes that's a scary thought, but most of the time it's a thought that is extremely productive and validates each other's ideas. And what Richard has done with this hospitality. I mean, you think about it. If you're Matt Smith or whatever, and you're with XYZ Corporation, that's a Fortune 500 company, and you walk into the facility and you don't have an affiliation with a car, but you walk in there and you walk through the pits and you walk through the pro pits and you go see what Richard's created with hospitality and look at his rigs and look at his operation from a visual standpoint, you're going to go, I don't know if these guys look like they're fast, but they're definitely somebody that represents their partners well. And so that is the reason you do that. You do that for the people that aren't even on board yet, but also the people that are on board. When they get there and that's the hospitality they're going to, they're like, hell yeah, this is where
it's magnetic. It's magnetic.
Yeah, this is where I want to be. So the whole experience of it. I mean, I came from a form of motorsports where I was driving a car for 3.5 hours. Now I drive it for 3.5 seconds. So the action isn't in a suite looking at the racetrack all day. The action is back in the pits. You're watching these extremely talented crew guys take under 12,000 horsepower motors. They're disassembling them and assembling them and firing up in 40 minutes. I mean, you aren't going to go to a NASCAR race and see that. You're not going to see that in Formula One. You're not going to see that in any other form of motorsports. But the action, when you do go up to the track, that 4 seconds that you're watching your car, that is the most intense 4 seconds in motorsport. There isn't anything like it. There's not cars on the planet that accelerate like our cars do. So the experience of it is, how do you take what's already good with what happens on the racetrack and what people come back and over the last 3 years, especially since I've been driving in fuel, the amount of NASCAR fans that come to the track. It's my favorite part of the day, honestly, is when somebody comes by and they're like, hey, it's our first race. And I said, well, what brought you? And it's humbling because they're like, we wanted to come watch you run. And I said, well, if you get a chance before you leave at the end of the day, swing back by and I want to know what your thoughts are on it, because they hadn't seen a run yet.
Yeah.
And the most common response, the number one response, overwhelming over everything else, is we had no idea. When they come back, they got a smile on their face and they're like, we had no idea it was like this. And I tell everybody, I feel like NASCAR racing, if you go for the weekend, it's awesome to go. You get to see multiple races, you get to see practice sessions, this and that. If you're just going for the race, you're better off watching it on TV. You get to see replays, in-car camera, radio communications, all the data, the telemetry on TV. You don't get that necessarily in NHRA because it happens so fast. But the experience, if you want to watch NHRA drag racing, it's good on TV. It's 10 times better in person. The vibration, the concussion from the exhaust. Literally the first time I went with Leah to an event when she was at DSR during COVID, she goes, this person, when you go to the line, stand to this person's right shoulder. And so I was like a trailer. I was like a truck and trailer with RNL. I followed this person. If they walked halfway down the racetrack, I was going to be standing on the racetrack with them. But I stood 15 feet from that car and I got car sick after the run because I literally felt my insides move. And I'm like, and I've tried to tell that and explain that to people that are coming to the race for the first time. I'm like, if you get close enough to the cars, you will feel your insides move. And it's not necessarily a comfortable feeling, and it's not painful by any means, but there is nothing else on the planet. I've been in motorsports 47 years. I've never been around anything that ever made my insides move and made me car sick, and I wasn't moving. So just the experience of it is so drastically different. And that's where, going back to hospitality, that's where this is the whole thing for them. I mean, they're not going to sit in the bleachers all day and watch 9 or 10 classes run down there because they don't have that emotional attachment to it. They do to a race team. So for us at TSR and at Elite to have all the pro stock cars and now a top fuel car added, and for us to have top fuel car and funny car on our side, we have those people go up in the bleachers for a half hour maybe or 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But the rest of the day, they're going to be in hospitality. So you got to show them the best time possible. Give them a good atmosphere to we race all summer long in a lot of heat. So get them out of the heat, get them off their feet, give them somewhere to sit down, give them nice drinks, give them a great meal to have while they're there, and really treat them to a good time. That's the variables that no matter what happens on the racetrack, whether it's a successful or unsuccessful day, that experience is what keeps those people happy and keeps them coming back to the races. So that is the thing the entire industry has to keep in mind. And yeah, I mean, we're all racers first and foremost. And the thing that we're all guilty as racers of, we will hawk everything we have to pay the bills to go to a racetrack. We'll sell our parents, we'll sell our grandparents if somebody will buy them. We'll do whatever it takes to raise the money to go race. But the hard part is at some point you got to make the conscious decision that for the sustainability of your program, you've got to have these corporate partners involved. And the only way to do that is to give them a good experience at the racetrack. And if you're not investing in that, you're ultimately putting yourself at jeopardy, because your wallet's only going to go so far unless you're a Coletta Air or a Capco, that has a corporation to fund it for you. You've got to generate this income. And that's where Richard and I see very much eye to eye on what it takes to keep these people around, keep them involved, show them a good time, and make it to where when they leave, they want to come back again.
I mean, I've said this a lot. I believe that the downtime that we get at drag races, like especially pro level events, and I understand that it can obviously be taken to extremes, but generally speaking, it's a feature, not a bug, right? I think our sport, we're quick to shoot holes in this thing, right? How quick can we tear it down? How quick can we identify what's wrong? And perhaps not enough energy and effort put on going, hey man, there's some parts of this that accessibility doesn't exist anywhere else in motorsports. The fact that you can go peek behind the curtain, not only peek, but just hang out. And it's another way for me. I see it as a tool. Like, this is another way for us to get a hook in a fan. Like, maybe they see a crew guy break a wheel stud and they spend an hour tapping, you know what I mean? Or whatever. They see them fight that battle. And all of a sudden they got a little bit more interest in what happens next, because they saw this guy, sweat running down his face, busting his knuckles, trying to get this thing turned around in 45 minutes. Like, all of a sudden they're just a little more invested, and there's not an opportunity to really do that in any other form of motorsports, where you've got like, hey, let's take a brief intermission and show you guys one more reason to care about this shit. I mean, it's kind of a magical thing, but we have historically kind of treated downtime or those moments as, like I said, as a bug, not a feature. I feel it's a feature of our sport, something we should lean into. I appreciate, just before we continue, I want you guys to know we really appreciate your time here. Fantastic conversation, a busy Wednesday afternoon, I'm sure, but we really appreciate the candor. As we kind of wind this down, I do NHRA at 75. I'd like to just kind of go around the room. Obviously, I'll end with you, Tony. I've seen these stories unfold, from the front row since the beginning. Richard, you and I have, everybody on this call has at different times tried to rattle some cages in this sport, right? Try to push for some improvement. One of the best lines some of the best advice I've ever gotten was actually from Tony. He probably didn't even know he gave it to me, but I was kind of approaching something we were working on with a little bit of pussyfoot in my step, I guess. I was kind of trying to be nice about everything, and you were quick to remind me that, Wes, sometimes we have to rattle cages. Sometimes we have to ruffle feathers. But I think when we look at the sport here in 2026, Gainesville probably as the ultimate example. Our in-house statistician, Brett Kepner, tells me that was the most attended drag race in the history of the universe. There has never been more people at a drag racing event, period, hands down, than what happened at the season opening NHRA Gator Nationals. Richard, what do you make? 75 years through all the tough phone calls and battles at the track. I mean, I know NHRA is everybody's favorite punching bag, but I think we have to be, level-headed and men enough to step back and go, these guys have done it really well for a really long time. Few people can say they've stood the test of time to the degree that NHRA has. I think we got to give them their flowers at some point.
Well, first of all, you and I both have put on races. We've done it together. NHRA does a wonderful, wonderful job of putting on an event. Yeah, you can pick all you want, but trust me, again, you and I have done it. The last thing you want to do is put on a drag race. It is very difficult. It is very tiresome. You can't make everyone happy. NHRA lives through that at every event. They got me bitching, or they got Tony bitching, or they got somebody bitching. It doesn't matter. But the point being is to be involved with something that's been around for 75 years and Wally Park's vision And the people that are there today carrying that on, Glenn Cromwell, Josh Peterson, the whole group. And listen, I argue with them all the time about certain things, but I can tell you that I believe personally that our sport is in really good hands. Yes, it's transitioning. There's lots of reasons for that. You've heard me talk about it many, many times. Tony alluded to it a while ago, talking about, NASCAR being a real good TV sport. I believe that. I believe our sport, while we have to have TV, I get it. I don't think it's a great TV sport. It is a fantastic in-person sport. And after COVID, living through that, I think that's what people want. They want to talk to someone. They want to touch it. They want to feel it. They don't want to be put into hibernation. So I'm super excited about where our sport is, where it's going. And I'm glad to say that I'm a part of it, and doing my little part to make it and continue it.
I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, whenever I think about
Down
just
there, El Chapo.
Oh, El Chapo. Go, everybody,
Yeah.
somebody go to El Chapo.
No, Royce Lee's asking me a question.
What's Royce Lee doing? Compliminator racing? Is he grabbing gears and something?
Well, he's wanting to grab gears and something. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Is he?
That's
Has
all
he whooped
he's done.
anybody's ass today? It's all right. It's 320.
Well, he hadn't. Not. I don't know. I ain't been around.
You get them bottom teeth out. God,
Yeah.
he gets mad. Oh God, I love Royce Lee. Matt, I'll throw it to you. 75 years in, Richard was just basically saying that, we fight with these guys. There's controversy, right? There's somebody always bitching about the NHRA. They're everybody's favorite punching bag, but it's undeniable that they've done an incredible job and remain the highest level of our sport. Not nostalgically, but what do you think NHRA needs to do at this moment to set up themselves for the next 25 years? I mean, do you feel as positive about where we're at right now as I do?
Well, I mean, 1,000 on the funny car race, right? Like that speaks for itself. We've had 1,000 races so far. I mean, and I'll be dusting the wind probably when 2,000 rolls around, but it's one of those things where, I think everything's always evolving. It's always, growing. There's going to be plenty of times when, like you said, there, NHR is a punching bag, and we try to point out Monday quarterback what we could have done better. But, I think the biggest thing that I've always kind of like rallied behind is we're selling an experience, and it was funny because like it really reminded me of that when John Ford, I blew up one time and I crashed and I split my head open and there's blood everywhere. And I go in the back of the ambulance and they're, kind of wiping my head open, like kind of cleaning me up and yanks open the ambulance. And he's like, "You good, kid?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And he said, "The only thing I do different is roll around on the ground and act like I'm on fire." He said, "You'll get a little bit more TV time." He's like, "I know you're new at this, and so, but that like stuck with me, man. Like we're here to put on a show. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love winning, and you see the trophies and all this other stuff, and that's great. But these people are paying hard-earned money, man. It takes someone a week's worth of their pay to show up there and do what we do and watch what we're doing and camp out and do all the things that. So I think that the biggest thing that I think that NHRA probably needs to look at is we're selling an experience, right? We need to have bands and we need to have stuff to do in between rounds. And some guys love to just go watch the brackets and different things like that. And that's great. But we can only capture people's attention for a short amount of time. We all, in today's world with technology, we're on our phones, we're doing this. It's the next best thing. It's the latest, greatest. We have these folks captured in this small area that we're for a couple hours, and then they're off to something else. So, that experience needs to be condensed and short. And don't get me wrong, because I'm always the one that's upset when we have to warm up and I'm dressed in the pit and I'm sweating and we're putting the body on and we're driving it up there and they're robbing our time for TV and everything. So there's a fine line, I think, between all that. But if we can push it together and have that fan experience and just keep doing what they're doing, I think we're blessed to be able to have an organization and a sanctioning body that we can go out here and race and make a living and do the things we do. And the safety is always evolving, and they're always doing a good job of putting a racetrack racetrack underneath us and trying to keep us safe. So as much as, like you said, we want to bitch about it, man, like we got a great platform, a great place to race, great place to make a living. And I've been doing it for 20 years like that, man. And I know Tony has made money in different motorsports and all over the country doing different things, but I'm just very humbled and blessed and grateful to have a great group of guys and a great, group of sponsors, and to be able to go out here on the weekends and pull my helmet on, throw my mouthpiece in, and hang on to something that's 340 miles an hour, bro. Like there's like 50 people in the world that get to do that. You know what I mean? So just blessed beyond means.
It's incredible. Tony, when you look at this whole thing, I'm curious if you feel how I feel. I tell my team almost on a daily basis, friends, we're walking on fertile soil. This is a sport that's been around for 100 years. NHRA's had it organized for 75 years. But I still feel like this is the low-hanging fruit in the motorsport space. I don't think that there's anything that's as developed as drag racing, but with so much room for growth. Like, we're nowhere near the ceiling of what I think this sport's capable of. What do you think? What's the goal for the next 25 years? Do you share that optimism for the sport of drag racing?
Yeah, I believe so. But I'll go back to the very first thing. If you are a sanctioning body or you're a promoter of a race or race series or racetrack, you immediately are a punching bag. You are a pincushion and a punching bag, because I can tell you from owning Eldora Speedway, and I own the All-Star Circuit Champion Sprint Car Series for years, you can have a perfect event and somebody is pissed off. A driver's pissed off about something, an owner's pissed off, a fan's pissed off about something, didn't get something they wanted. It's a never-ending vicious cycle. So for NHRA, I mean, to do what they've done for 75 years, and you look at how much in our society has changed in 75 years. I mean, the biggest thing, the single biggest thing we fight as promoters and series and in the entertainment industry is these pieces of shit that monopolize our time nonstop, which Richard and I both are on the same page on this. You can pick this up and try to get a hold of my wife, and neither one of us can get a hold of her. So that's just a whole nother story. But that they're the root of the entire evil for all of us, unfortunately, because people have information and technology at their fingertips. And being a track owner, I get invited to Promoters Workshop each year, and literally the average attention span's getting close to right around 2 hours. So how do you take this big product and run 9-10 divisions and classes and keep people entertained? And NHRA's done a really good job. I mean, I think, and Matt and Richard can correct me if I'm wrong, I think in the last 2 years in particular, they went to really trying to condense the pro sessions, to where knowing that, there's a percentage of those people that are coming to the track that they're coming to watch Funny Car and Top Fuel, and they want to see pro stock bike and pro stock. So how do you take that part of the program and condense it to where people aren't having to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning and leave at 8 o'clock in the evening, and they got 2 kids they've been dragging around all day? So NHRA is kind of in that mindset of how do we take the show and condense it. And there's diehard people. I mean, I've been there at 8 o'clock when the gates open, and there are people in the stands, and those people, their ass has to hurt by the end of the day because they don't leave all day. They want to watch every run that's going to go down that racetrack. So there's something for everybody. It's
and those people they're the great, like, to me, my opinion is that those people that are there at 8 a.m., they're promoting to them is almost unnecessary. It's like preaching to the choir. They're already Christians. They've already been baptized, right? Yeah. They're coming to church, and I think a lot of times that they should be the gravy. Like, those are the people you can't, those are the hardcores. We've got to attract the casuals, the people that are looking something to do on a Friday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon, that have 3 or 4 hours to give and are willing to exchange their hard-earned money for 3 or 4 hours of entertainment. And I think you're right, man. I mean, there are those hardcores that are going to stay there all day. I love this shit more than anybody I know. And I'm hard pressed to sit in the grandstands I ain't going to go sit in the grandstands for 15 hours. I've seen fans do it, right? And to me, that's another thing that's just proof of how strong our sports hardcore following is. But to get those new people, we got to tighten this bad boy up. There's no doubt about it. And I'm glad to hear that that's a part of the conversation.
Happen on the racetrack, that's, the safety safari, especially, I'd say literally in the last 12 months, the safety safari has done such a good job of when we have an oil down. I mean, obviously we had bad misfortune for Tony Schumacher 2 runs in a row where we blew up a rear end. It's the hardest thing to clean up at a drag race on the racetrack. But the great thing for us as competitors is we have trust and faith in the safety safari that when they're done with it, it's been good. I mean, we don't sit there and go, man, that lane's killed for the rest of the day. Literally, guys go right down the racetrack after they get it done. So that's a positive. But it goes back to exactly what Matt said a minute ago. When those uneventful or unfortunate events happen and we have a delay like that, we've got to be, and NHRA as a sanctioning body has to be ready to throw down and double down the entertainment side of it to keep these people pumped up. And granted, they're going to go down in the pits and they're going to want to watch these teams. They're going to want to get a chance to see us as drivers and come to the ropes and sign autographs and take pictures. But there's that percentage of them that are going to stay in the stands, and you got to show them something. So I think that's the single area I feel like that, the action speaks for itself, like you mentioned, Wes. But, we got to do a better job of entertaining these people when we have, problems on the racetrack that need addressed, and give those safety safari guys time to do it the right way without feeling the pressure of people sitting there yawning in the stands. But, I feel like the people at NHRA are really starting to get their hands around that and understand that is an aspect that needs looked at, and trying to find ways to make it better.
Just being willing to try.
That complain, by the way, the people that do complain and want to shoot it down all the time are people that haven't spent a fucking dime on a race car in their entire life. They sit on their ass. They sit in their mom's basement. They don't do a damn thing but bitch and complain. They're the same ones that at the end of the day, it's a perfect day and they find something to complain about. I read about it. I read stuff all the time. My wife gets so mad at me for reading the internet, and I love reading people's comments. And it's like, you look through their profiles and you're like, they don't even own a damn race car. What the hell? They don't know what the hell they're talking about. But it's great that we all have opinions. But, the people that want to shoot it down, I challenge those people, and I'm encouraging those people. If you're pissed off about something, the way something's being done, follow that up with a solution or something that can help make it better. Because if all you're doing is bitching about it, you are not a part of the solution. You're a part of the problem at that point. So, we all want it to be better. And if the fans want it to be better too, if you're going to be bold enough to sit there and write shit on there, you better be able to come to my pit and say it to my face too, because I promise you, I'm not perfect at the racetrack. I don't get to interact with the fans in the most positive light all the time. There's times I'm being pulled like a Stretch Armstrong doll. I've got 2 teams I've got to go to over here. I've got a bunch of teammates on the pro stock side. So I'm not always available, and I can't always spend the time. And there's times that I'm frustrated trying to take care of everybody, and I get pulled too thin. That's the great thing about having somebody like Maddie Gordon come into the sport now. She's fresh. She's got high energy. She just has to drive that race car and take care of her sponsor. So I love seeing Maddie come in. I love seeing the interaction that she has with the fan base and keeping them energized during breaks. I mean, she is our best asset right now for when we have an oil down. She'll go up there and shoot T-shirts in the stands. She'll get them doing the wave. She is a breath of fresh air. I will never be that person. I can't be that person. Believe it or not, I'm too shy to be that person in the big picture. But man, we're grateful for people like her. We're grateful for people like Matt that have high energy. Jack Beckman, you got all these great personalities in the sport that are willing to do whatever it takes to keep everybody entertained and happy. And we all do the best we can. But when it doesn't go right, if you don't like what's going on and you want to complain about it, please help with a solution, help with an idea, or
change the channel. Go do something. Go to a dirt bike race. These guys, my dad would have I'd have been beaten to death. Richard knows. If I behaved the way some of these people do and said the things that are said about people in our sport sometimes, I just can't believe it. Makes me sad sometimes that
it's so funny because we'll do autograph sessions and I forget sometimes Tony's the boss, right? Like, he's my buddy, you know what I'm saying? And so we're just kind of cutting up and talking and stuff. And you'll have these groups of people come by and they'll bring 25 or 30 things. And then you'll have a guy that'll come over and he'll say something smart, Alec. And Tony just checks that dude right off the rip. And I'm just like, whoa, bro, you can't. Oh, you are the boss. You can say whatever you want. You know what I mean? And that's what's really cool. You know what I mean? Because it's like, if I can't do that, but like, it's one of them deals where it's refreshing a little bit when someone says something stupid. He's like, hey, don't you think that's a stupid question? You know what I mean? So it's awesome to sit there and watch some of that stuff unfold as well. But you know what I mean? But like, it's all like going back to what he says, have a solution. Don't just bitch about something,
100%.
And that's the big thing. I want to encourage people. I'm not sitting there just bashing people because I can read stuff all day long like that. It doesn't bother me. My wife won't even read social media stuff because she gets tired of negativity, but I thrive on it. It actually motivates me. It makes me run harder and push harder. And the more people bitch at me, the more it gets me going. So that's kind of fuel for my fire. But I really want to encourage. I mean, this is a time where all of us, it doesn't matter whether you're a team owner, a fan, a sponsor, a sanctioning body, a promoter. If we don't like something, and if it bothers us so much that we'll take the time to complain about it, take the same amount of time to throw a suggestion, because I'm not the only one that's reading the internet. And if I read, somebody that it may seem like they may not think their voice is heard, and they may not think that their opinion matters, but if they have a good idea, you can bet your ass, I don't care who it is. I read it on the internet and it's a good idea. I'm going to take it to NHRA, or I'm going to take it to Richard, or I'm going to take it to our partners and Kelly Antonelli and say, hey, a fan had this idea. I think there's weight to this and merit to it. We need to look into this. So, if you want to be that person to complain, go for it. But man, please be the kind of person that comes up with a solution or an idea to try to make it better. If not, you're just a piece of shit complaining and wasting our time on the internet.
I mean, it's easy. It's easy to poke holes. It's so easy to poke holes in this stuff. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. A year. Okay, well, let's do this again in a year. We'll have you on again, I'm sure. But I want to just say, if we were to do this again in a year, this same group of people, what does victory look like to you? Like this, where we're at in this whole process. Richard, I'm going to start with you. If we get back together in April of 2027, what does victory look like with this project for you?
For me, the ultimate goal would be to win a championship, and get my pro stock stuff where it's competitive. That's my goal sitting here today, throughout the end of the year.
Tony, you?
I don't know what Richard said, but I
my bad. He said win a world championship and get his pro stock stuff running good. But
I think
I was surprised to hear that.
It exactly starts that way. I mean, you get, Team Elite back to number one on the pro stock side. Luckily we're starting this question early enough in the season. When we start the year, it's, I think for Richard and I, we just want to see progress and we want to build a program. We've got strong roots in building that program now. So I think a year from now, if in the perfect world, we got a pro stock world championship over here with Team Elite. We've won a race on the top fuel side now. So now you can't sit there and go, well, we want to win a race or two. Now it's you're not doing your program justice if you say we want to go and be a contender for a world championship. For me on the top fuel side and funny car side with TSR, I mean, it's easy on Matt's side. I mean, it's the only funny car we got between the two programs. So we want Matt winning a world championship. Gets a little more complicated on the top fuel side because I'm racing and trying to win a world championship against my own car and my own spouse. I mean, the love of my life. So, I'm not rooting against her. I'm rooting for both of us. And if one of the two of us wins a world championship this year, there's nothing that's going to be higher than that. So to see all three of our teams have success and our programs just thrive and be successful, that's going to be a great year. And especially to hopefully a year from now talk about that we did it in NHRA's 75th anniversary is a huge milestone to be successful in.
Pretty special, man. Matt, how about you? What's the pass fail? I mean, you're a world beater at this point, so I'm sure the expectation is extremely high.
Well, obviously, championship number 5 is the goal. I mean, we can win as many races out here as we want to, and people remember who won championships, and that's really kind of what we strive to be a part of and to set that bar. Obviously, with having 4 championships with this team, put you in a category with Forrest, with Bernstein, and the Snake, and then ourselves. So it's a small group already, but when you get to 5, it just puts you there with Force, and nobody's going to run that guy down. But I think another thing too is just let's get Leah some wins, man. Let's get her solid on the board. Let's get her, kind of like me and Tony right now. We've got that first win off of our back, right? And there's so much pressure involved with that, getting that first one out of the way for the season, and then you feel like, okay, I can take a deep breath, you know what I mean? And then you start focusing and you're trying things and you're doing things. So I think right now, obviously, focus on getting her some wins, doing whatever it takes to do that. And then, us, Tony, Elite, the whole group, TSR, just pushing forward, man. And like I said before, we're excited about what we got here in the group that we have, but the wins will just keep coming, you know what I mean? So for me, obviously championship 5, get our teammates there, obviously winning some races and get that on the board, and then they can go focus on winning championships as well. So one big happy family over here, like Tony always says, one team, all team kind of deal. And we got a big team, man. We got a big group of people, man. So brain trust is real. We have a lot to be excited about.
Absolutely badass. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Richard, go do something. I know you're going crazy. Richard's going nuts. Guaranteed. He can't wait. Hit that fucking button. Bye, Richard. Tony, Matt. Yeah, Tony, Matt, thank you guys so much. I know you got a ton of shit going on, so we really appreciate it, brother. I'll see you guys at the racetrack soon. Take care, y'all.
Appreciate it.
Let me take a minute and pay some bills here real quick. I want to remind you guys that each and every episode of the Wes Buck Show is made possible by way of Stroud Safety. Stroud Safety, 100% made in America, 100% built for racers. From drag chutes and seatbelts to fire suits and ballistic blankets, Stroud Safety has been the standard in racing safety equipment for decades. Tommy Cunningham and his team don't cut corners. They build gear that saves lives. If you're serious about safety, there's one call to make. Check them out at stroudsafety.com. And make sure you tell them Wes sent you guys. I hate we had some audio issues there, and maybe we had too many people on screen because I kind of missed you a little bit, Mike, and a little bit also JT. Not a ton,
awesome,
but
that was good. A lot of good insight there. Yeah. We gotta, something's going on with the system. We did everything possible to get that going, but handled well, and I think you were able to relay what was going on to
you
those
guys.
guys.
I'm gonna pat myself on the back.
Yeah, I
had to tell him what he was saying. I'm like, oh man, I don't.
Yeah,
I
you
can't.
had to remember to.
Well, you guys also know that I'm capable of, just I'll regurgitate it verbatim. You know what I mean?
No,
and the podcast would have been 3 hours long.
You're good at that, man. But what about Tony? That was very candid. What Tony had to say about. He reads.
I don't think anybody gets better at Tony Stewart interviews than we do.
Yeah, he expects you to come with solutions. So talk all the shit you want, but you better come with a solution. I think that is really interesting to hear. Probably something you're not going to hear anywhere else from Tony. And man, it's really interesting to see what that team has done. Kind of melding. We were wondering how this is going to work. Like a pro stock team is going to go start a Top Fuel team, and Tony's going to leave his team that he owns and go drive for this team. But 3 races in, we see the fruit of it already, and it's pretty impressive, man. And I think it's kind of shaking up the standard order of things, or whatever you want to say. Like, who really expected, as great as Elite is, as great as Tony is at what he does, and Mike Green and these teams. Yeah, and these guys are too. Richard admitted, like, did they expect to win? Yes, but 3 races in, no. And I just think that is going to really set a tone for the rest of the year.
To me, it's a really good sign, because I knew really, if I give a lot of credit to Elite Motorsports and KB Titan specifically, and I know that, I'm not trying to, it's no secret I'm close with Richard or whatever, but like, I'm close with Greg Anderson too. I like Greg a lot. We go way back. Those two putting their heads together, those two camps saying, hey, we've got to do something to preserve pro stock racing. We got to reduce some of this barrier to entry. We've got to make this a little more accessible. We can't all have, custom one-off, nobody else on the planet Earth can get it stuff. And I knew that was part of Richard's mindset as he entered the Nitro ranks, is, man, we got to make the pathway to success a little more attainable. And I think what Richard demonstrated,
proven that already.
They've proven it, that they bought. I mean, I'm not saying any of it was junk, all world-class stuff, but they bought used equipment, right? Used equipment, came out with a brand new group of people, and with the right leadership, the right, direction, the right overall structure, they're in the winner's circle 3 years later, or 3 races in. I have to believe that is an enticing thing for some sponsor, brand, absolutely, prominent team owner sitting on the sidelines or watching from afar going, you know what? We put the right pieces together. We can go do this. We can find ourselves in the conversation, and it's not going to take us 10 years of grinding. You know, it's not going to take us 10 years of D and Qs and struggles. We're going to be able to find our way to to competitive pretty quickly. So I'm really excited because I can't help it. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say in a greater picture as well. Top Fuel was wide open this year, and you got Tony in this new role. You've got Leah; she's back and running really well. Maddie Gordon has thrown herself in there as a contender already. So that and on the funny car side, Hagan is tied for the lead in points with Caps right now. Caps is kind of maturing as a team owner at this point. He's a few years into team ownership, and you're seeing the fruit of that. Also, like the two Nitro ranks have a lot of excitement. Not to take away from anything that's happening in the other classes, but you just look at them right now. I feel like it's anybody's ball game. Like for the last, Coletta is still the class of the field, but you see J.R. Todd popping up there in funny car, number one qualifier. Like they've dominated Top Fuel. The funny car side now is kind of following suit. So you just got a lot going on. There are 3 races in. I know it's too early to take a big sample size, but it's going to be a really, really wide open year in the Nitro ranks in NHRA.
I had another question queued up for him, but I just knew that we'd had him long enough that I wanted to let him go. But like the one thing that's really standing out to me in Top Fuel, and I love that it's just become such a big part of the conversation, is reaction times. I mean, like, I don't know if you watched, the top end behind the scenes stuff, but Tony Stewart wanted to see the time slip as soon as he got out of the car. He wanted to know what his light was. Matt Hagan, as soon as he got out of the car, who's got a time slip? Who's got a time slip? Like, I think Justin Ashley and that 025, 025, 025, 036 or whatever in the final, like, we're seeing a historic driving performance.
I mean, that's like pro stock reaction times. It's insane.
It's bonkers. And no one's ever been close to this. No one's ever been in this zip code. But it's a new conversation that our sport, we haven't had a lot of.
We're having that conversation though in a lot of classes. It used to be a pro stock only thing. We talk about it a lot for the winter series. When you've got that many good teams with all these cars that can perform so equally, it comes down to the driver. And look who won World Series of Pro Mod, Aaron Stanfield. Look at what Stevie Jackson did at US Street Nationals with his reaction times, one of the best drivers in the field. And Jason Harris, one of the best drivers in the field. Like, all 3 of our races this year were won by elite level drivers. And it's not 100%. Just a performance. You got to be like that level of driver in our series. And so I think you're just seeing that across the sport as a whole. It's no longer a bracket racing or pro stock thing to have a good light. You got to have a good light everywhere. I was talking about Tony Wilson at IHRA last week. Look at his reaction times. Like, there's just no room anymore.
There's no room.
Didn't John tell us that on the show one time?
Of course.
That when Justin Ashley came on the scene, like, made them all step their game up, and like he put a tree in his toter and or in the trailer and started.
Oh, dude, I think every single person out here has had to recognize that if you think you're going to be able to leave with a 100 something light and even win first round, you may be mistaken. You know what I mean? And to me, it's one of the most exciting things, because anything we can do that just puts the focus back on the men and women behind the wheel of these cars, that's the most important thing we can do to demonstrate consistently that this is not easy to do, and it's not something that everybody can do, right? Like, every one of the people in the qualified field for the NHRA Winter Nationals is a able-bodied individual, right? But being able to go up there and do what Justin Ashley did 4 times in a row is literally unbelievable, man. It's really crazy. I do think that this is an incredibly exciting time in the sport of drag racing, man. We've got about 15 minutes here. We can get the shoots out early, guys. But if there are any questions for Mike, JT, or myself, we're happy to answer them. But yeah, Mike, can continue on. I just want to drum up some conversation.
I'll just say, and I know we got PDRA live, but let's do a little rundown for PDRA this weekend and what we've got coming up, what we expect to see. We got the rule change in effect. We saw some of the effects of the rule change deal at IHRA last weekend.
Take on that, Mike? Well, you're the rule guy.
To me, it looked. I know there was a lot of complaint early, I think, from the centrifugal guys, but I think by the end of it, you still saw centrifugal dominate on race day pretty much, and I really saw the screw blowers be able to match ET in a lot of ways on the centrifugal car. So I don't think it was that far in left field. Now, that was a smaller change than what PDRA made. And it's also, a lot of this can be condition dependent. VMP, one of the best tracks in the country, if not one of the best track surfaces, period. The weather was really good. It was cool. You might have something different at Galat this weekend. They've also got a bigger swing than what IHRA did. So we'll see what ends up happening. I don't think at the end of the day weight's the answer. I think there's going to be more work to be done on this, and we don't want to see, in my opinion, what we saw Stevie Jackson
forecasting last night on the Shake and Bake
forecasting
show.
And on the Shake and Bake show. And we put a story out about it today, where you've got a guy that in a lot of ways is leading the charge for the screw blower combination. His combination has been pacing that side of the field for the last couple of events. He's like, we're done with it, and he's gonna move to centrifugal if nothing else changes. So I don't know what to make of that. If that's a strategy, if it's something that he's trying to put a bug in some ears and get, ruffle some feathers. But it's not. You don't want to see that.
Do that all the time. They just, whatever the rule changes, they just switch the combination.
Yeah, and you see guys do it. Guys have both combinations. Like Justin Bond has that ability. There's some other guys that have that. Ricky Smith threatened forever and did get a turbo car. Eventually, didn't really race it much or do anything. You've seen this before, but I think it would be a shame to see Stevie abandon screw blowers, or like, what if the Tutaro camp was next behind that? Like, that's not what you want to see. You've got to somehow maintain this diversity. So it falls on the sanctioning bodies and on the rule makers to, as wherever possible, try to maintain these combinations. I really think Pro Mod, as great as it is right now, could find itself in a really tough spot very soon if literally we're talking about a field of 69 Camaro centrifugal supercharged cars. We've got to have that diversity somehow.
We've got to preserve it. I've been using that word a lot lately because I think it has the severity that I'm going for, right? Like, it's easy to talk about, everything changes, blah, 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 ebbs and flows, various things. But I really think we've got to start, really wrapping our heads around long-term sustainability, like what's going to get us not to next season, but to a season a decade from now. Like, how do we be having these same conversations about Pro Mod and seeing it as in strong? Because, all the positives that exist. I mean, the fact of the matter is there was 15 top fuel cars in Pomona this past weekend. One of the most celebrated NHRA races, one of the most celebrated drag races on the planet Earth. It's gotten to a point where it's just so hard. It's so expensive. And I can see Pro Mod kind of trending toward that. Like, we've got to protect it. We've got to protect and preserve what's happening here. And yeah, having a bunch of racers, the headline we ran with, Stevie Jackson spending $1 million, switching all his cars, all his KTR camp, Killing Time Racing Camp cars from screw blowers to centrifugal superchargers. To your point, Mike, we don't know how true that is. How much, is that for sure every car in their camp's changing? I don't know. We'll get to the bottom of it, obviously, but that's what the man said in a public forum. And to me, that's a touch alarming, right? So yeah, it's a very interesting time. Scott Malpass asks, is Jimmy Taylor going to race NHRA Pro Mod? Yes, Jimmy Taylor will be behind the wheel of the in-house Jerry Bickle Race Cars R&D car, owned by Rick Horde, formerly campaigned by Rick Horde, the owner of Jerry Bickle Race Cars, at the fast approaching NHRA 4-wide Nationals at ZMAX. It'll be Jimmy's first NHRA race. Jimmy Taylor making his debut at a 4-wide race. So that should be an interesting thing. I know they've done a lot of testing over the course of the last few weeks and are really, comfortable. I think that they still feel they've got some room to grow and room to improve, but their main goal is just to make sure that they would like to prove that the twin turbo combination can still be competitive. Are they going to dominate? I don't know with the current rule structures. Are they going to come out and run, the way we saw Brad Personette kind of take the class by storm, or Troy Coughlin take the class by storm, or Jose Gonzalez take the class by storm with their turbo cars? But it would be great to see a twin turbo car in the hunt at the.
We'll have a turbo
Nationals.
car there and a nitrous car.
Yeah,
at least
it's going to be
that's
exciting.
So, hey, that's good. That's what.
Hey,
you need.
Man, there's a
that
little bit of.
I don't know how much weight that carries with the masses, but to me, that draws more interest to that class for this weekend.
I think so. Congrats to Michael Narks and crew hosting their first single day drag and drive this weekend. Race in the morning, 70-mile drive, race again, Route 66 stops. Do you guys say route or route?
Route.
Okay. I think I say route.
I'd probably say both.
I think I say both, depending on.
I've never heard
like
it
if you
called
go
the
to Sonic.
Route 66. I've never heard that in my life. It's always a Route 66. There's even it says it in the damn song about Route 66. Get your kicks on Route
true.
66, right?
Fair. That's biblical, basically. So route it is. So when you go to Sonic and you order a ginormous Coke Zero, as God intended, the nectar of the gods, greatest soda in the history of the world. Do you order?
First, I don't go to Sonic. I can't tell you the
You don't
last
go to
time I
Sonic?
ever went to a Sonic. No, I'm not a Sonic guy.
Sonic's
What the hell?
it's big down here, dude.
My daughter
Sonic's-
works at one.
Sonic's big in Oklahoma, Texas. Sonic started in Oklahoma, in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The first.
Here's
ever
another one. Do you
Sonic
say
drive-in.
tow truck or wrecker? We say tow truck around here.
Tow truck?
Both.
Well, both.
Both. Both.
Whenever I was growing up at my dad's auto repair shop, I got to tell you, one of my favorite things was calling Fred Scott. Old Freddie Scott owned Fred's Wrecker in Kirksville, Missouri. God rest his soul. He died on a cruise. Sad. Went on a cruise. Didn't really do a bunch of vacationing. Went on a cruise with his wife.
Died
Died on a cruise
Died on a cruise ship. Yeah, really sad.
Like-
but
of a heart attack or something.
probably, or just like smoke
Then
inhalation.
just, like,
Nobody
jump off.
alive. No, nobody ever in history smokes the way that Fred Scott smoked.
You can't smoke on a cruise ship. Yeah, you can't.
Well,
You
he
can
smoked.
just, you know.
He smoked
Okay.
enough
Yeah,
before
I
he got there. Trust me, I would get home from. So when I was growing up, I got on the bus at Buck Brothers Sunny Slope at my dad's repair shop. So I went to work with my dad every morning, and I would get on the bus at Buck Brothers, and then I would get dropped off after school.
It was a short bus.
It was a short bus, and I would get dropped off after school at Buck Brothers and go right to work. Right, my dad expected me to get out of school and be right at Buck Brothers and go to work. And my favorite days were the days that Fred Scott would come by and be like, "You want to go with me in the wrecker?" And I would hop in his old Ford truck record, like it was like an Econoline van that'd been converted into a wrecker, like a dually. You know the one I'm talking about. You know,
Yeah.
primarily used by serial killers. I think
Yeah.
that's like their most common use case. But they also
I don't
made
know
a
that I've
hell of
ever
a
seen
record.
an Econoline converted into a tow truck.
Well, it was like a
have to
dually.
see
Yeah, it was. I wonder if I have a photo of Fred's wrecker. But dude, I rode all over creation in that thing, having Marlboro light smoke blown in my face. I was like a punk ass kid, but I did learn how to run a Stinger and run a wrecker. I actually thought about starting a wrecker service when I was like 17 or 18 years old. Kind of glad I didn't go that route,
yeah,
to be honest with you
Among
guys.
many options.
Yeah.
Went the U-Haul
but-
route instead. See, I said route.
U-Haul was still a backbuster. I mean, U-Haul was hard. That was a hard business to be in because nobody's got a fucking trailer hitch. Nobody's got trailer lights wired up. Find yourself constantly dealing with some pissed off parent or some dumbass college kid laying on your back on gravel at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was super rough. I don't miss U-Haul at
No
all.
matter what, you have to haul it yourself. You know,
You do. It's terrible.
JT,
That's,
they want to update on the tattoo.
Well, I'm waiting on that art. So
I thought the art was pulled up here when I joined the
I wanted to do it with
podcast.
color too
Okay.
to see if I want it with color. So
I don't think you're going to want color. Red, maybe.
I thought just a little bit of red in it.
Maybe do his
What do you-
signature in red.
What are you going with, like the LaMelo Ball look, the all red tattoos?
Dude,
I
that
don't
boy's
know.
got a lot of tattoos. Did you watch? Hey,
He
congrats to the Charlotte Hornets. You know, survived another day. Great.
It's been a
hey.
long couple decades, man.
We've been asked a couple times in here, what's your scoop on the hood scoops coming back and the dual
Well,
throttle?
I was trying to
bodies?
talk NBA. We talked about it briefly
We
last
talked about
week.
that a
week.
lot last week. Yeah.
Hood scoops. Well, so if who was it that asked?
There's several
I wanna-
people.
Okay, I wanted to address him by name. Well, we're here for hood scoops.
Yeah,
Wes Buck has casted his vote
Hood scoops.
for hood scoops.
yeah, but did you ever
Hood
hear any
scoops are on the
behind the
rise.
scenes on
Flat
it, like-
hoods.
Horsepower. They're going to make a little power. They're going to be easier to tune. I think that all around better, like all the way around better is the.
Oh,
is
but
what
did
this
you
is
see
gonna be.
though? I didn't. So we kind of talked about it. And I think it's mostly positive. Auto Week which I think is Susan Wade, released an article yesterday.
Let me pull it up.
Basically just based off an interview with the Latinos, Eric Latino and Matt Latino, and they were extremely negative about the hood scoops. So
Really?
I think Eric Latino said it's going to do nothing but cost money. It's going to cost $50,000 for every team or every car, even possibly. And he was totally against it. So
really,
I think, and I haven't heard from anybody else at KB, but this could be an Elite KB split thing. The Elite is for the hood scoops, KB either not so much or totally against them, just based on that story.
All right. NHRA, so shout out Susan Wade. She's actually a great writer in our space. NHRA Pro Stock rule change draws mixed reactions. Okay, let's find the quotes. EFI will remain. We know these things. Will forward-facing single throttle bodies will give way to 2 top-mounted 4-barrel style throttle bodies. The motors are going to look a lot cooler too. Can we agree with that? Like way, yeah. I like that. Okay, so here's Eric Latino, a longtime friend of ours here at Drag Illustrated. Some of the teams have tested with the throttle bodies up top and hood scoop and picked up 15 horsepower so far. You know how well the KB Titan cars perform, so if the other teams are picking up 15 horsepower, do they not think that they will also pick up 15 horsepower or more? We will spend about $50,000 per car and be no further ahead.
He says up the top.
Here we go. These other teams need to understand the KB Titan team. It gets pretty serious here.
Oh, wow.
We will always outwork all the other teams and continue to dominate until they learn to commit to work just as hard as our guys do. I was pretty shocked by this. We should have brought this up when Richard was on.
Yeah, we should have read this to Richard.
Yeah, we need to get someone from the KB side. We need to get Eric or Matt on here to kind of talk about this.
JT, line it up for next week. Blake, JT, get Eric Latino or Matt Latino on the show next week. Eric and Greg. Get Eric Latino and Greg. Let's get Greg and Eric. And that's what it takes. Latino had a message for the sanctioning body too. If they want the Pro Stock cars to run quicker and pick up 50 horsepower, then we have a program that NHRA should be listening to. I don't know what that means, but wow. Ultimately, I don't think it really does a whole lot, says Matt Latino, Eric's son. And I would like to believe that because we should. Okay, a lot of this is just, interesting. That's not what I really anticipated the reaction to be.
Yeah, and then Matt Latino goes on to say, I haven't been racing Pro Stock for many years. This is my first full year in the car. I haven't gotten used to one combination or the other. And then I think it goes on to say here, ultimately, as fans like it, then I like it. And I think he said it's another good spot to sell it to a sponsor, which is true. We haven't talked about that. That's a nice big spot to sell to a sponsor, which I think is something that Matt works really hard to do, to keep sponsors on his car and the funding to stay out there. So that's a good point. And then they do get a comment from Jim.
Yeah, read that one, Michael.
He goes back. I think he said that they haven't had that since they ran until in 2016, which might have been the year of the Dodge deal for Elite. He says it's welcomed by teams to potentially improve performance and reduce R&D costs. And I think that if you go back to Latino's quote, I think that they say it's going to cost more R&D. So again, this is great. And I love this kind of stuff because I love seeing the two different approaches and attitudes and opinions from KB and Elite. And it's why this rivalry between these two teams will never die. And you could ask them some of these questions about, is it a tow truck or a wrecker? And they're going to fall on different sides of it. Right. And I love that about that. And that's what, for me, keeps Pro Stock interesting right now.
Yeah, man. Kind of wild. I was surprised. I mean, I didn't expect to read that out of Latino. There's no doubt about it. It's more.
I got that. I have alerts or whatever somehow from Auto Week. I don't even know how I set it up, but I get these articles anytime Susan publishes anything or there's anything on Auto Week about NHRA. And so it's mainstream, but off the beaten path, I think, of what we see typically maybe what we get on our site, what we get on Competition Plus, where we're like embedded fully in the sport and you get kind of an outside interview situation. And there's some interesting stuff on there for sure.
A couple of things. Let's just run through the news. Let's do new news real quick. Want to give a shout out to World Street Nationals, Ozzy, Sydney, everybody down in Orlando Speed World Dragway. I believe that the Fuel Tech World Street Nationals at Orlando is an iconic event in this space, and I love to see the effort being put in to continue to grow this particular event's brand. Racers will get to compete for the coveted NHRA Wally in 2026, so I think that's a fantastic thing. Congrats to all those guys. JT, let's throw this story in the comments, the Stevie Jackson story. This is a banger. I encourage you guys to go read this. This is what we were just discussing. Okay, you're welcome. Celebratory, we got a photo gallery. Travis Shoemake, I forgot he was racing Nostalgia Funny Car last weekend. New dash from Autometer, pretty cool. Cody wants one for his car, so he needs to hit up Autometer on behalf and see if we can't get a freebie. Spencer Hyde, awesome. 1,000th, continuing to build momentum. What else is in here? Oh, Tyler Cross. No, I thought this was cool. We should give some love to Corey Reed, going back to back. I didn't think about this enough. I mean, this kid went from professional motocross rider to NHRA Pro Stock motorcycle racer to NHRA Pro Stock racer, won a race, wasn't just an also ran, did well, and is now made the move into small tire racing. Seems to be right at home, right? I mean, seems to be right at home behind the wheel of this thing. Took out Jimmy Dale in the final at the IHRA Small Tire Brats Series behind the wheel of Manny Bajinga's Freddie Ford Mustang. Really, really, really cool thing. And they're on a roll, man. They got a real hot rod. We don't know what it ran, but it's clearly fast. As we discussed, PDRA rolling into North Carolina for the kind of a double up weekend, right? I think it's going to be pretty exciting. PDRA always seems to play well at Elite Motorsports Park, so I'm excited for them. Bubba Stanton had a hot rod, man. Quartermax built one of the kind of house cars, I would say, at Quartermax Racing. Sets NHRA or IHRA Outlaw Pro Mod record, wins at Virginia. Super exciting. Johnny Placino. I saw this in the comments earlier. Johnny Placino, Mountain Motor Pro Stock looked good. Mountain Motor Pro Stock looked really, really good. And I think, I don't know that anybody can be super satisfied with how we arrived here, right, boys? Like, there's been times throughout, the course of time that I thought Mountain Motor Pro Stock was fitting to go the way of the dodo. And I think that this is a great example of what happens when something gets splintered and fractured, right? We had guys racing NHRA Mountain Motor Pro Stock, PDRA Mountain Motor Pro Stock, IHRA Mountain Motor Pro Stock, and I don't know that anybody's super thrilled with the way everything went, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure the PDRA Extreme Pro Stock contingent feels like they had it, right? I think the NHRA quarter mile effort, they probably felt like they had it, right? But now that there's no options but the IHRA, we see a very healthy Mountain Motor Pro Stock. And I think this is just the product of focusing all that energy into one direction, 100%. Into one venue, and here we are with 20 cars showing up to a race.
It's really that simple. I mean, I don't know. Really is. There's really nothing else you can say about it. Is that's really the only thing that was going to save it. And you're already seeing the results of that, because we talked about that for a long, long time about what was happening with Mountain Motor Pro Stock, and now it seems to be fixed, at least for now. And they're also pushing the limit of those records. That's another.
They are.
You got to be pushing that performance. I felt like it stagnated for so long.
Yeah, decades it was stagnant. Yeah. But I'm just curious, like, is there not a lesson to be learned from this? Like, we saw Mountain Motor Pro Stock go to like a fairly prominent class in drag racing to this fractured, splintered, no clear hierarchy, no clear indication of what's important or who's a player, because all the guys were racing in different venues. Whereas now we have them all in one location at one time. And I think this is going to bring like a renewed energy to this brand of drag racing. And it's fantastic. If I had to identify like the most positive thing that I've seen from the IHRA since this whole thing started a little over a year ago, I think it's Mountain Motor Pro Stock. And I think it is proof positive of what happens when attention is focused in a single place. But I think that there is a lesson. Right now we're seeing Pro Mod, its various iterations somewhat fractured, right? And that concerns me. You know what I mean? It's something that I think we've got to be going, okay, there's 100,000 examples of what happens when everybody starts going their own way, right? Marching to the beat of their own drum. And it concerns me. It truly does, man. But
there's a lot of good Pro Mods out there, though.
That's the only difference, right?
Because we look at it like Radio versus World what happened there, but there wasn't that many of those cars.
To begin
there really
with.
wasn't. Yeah.
Especially not purpose-built ones. I think some of the rose-colored glasses look-backs we've done on RVW kind of overlooks the fact that when we think about 40, 50 cars at RVW at like Lights Out 7, I mean, obviously I'm just shooting from the hip here, but 20 of those cars were double-entered Pro 275 or X275 cars, cars that didn't have a chance, cars that were there just because they wanted to be guilty by association, right?
And even the ones that were successful weren't purpose-built Pro Mod style cars.
Right.
Like
Keith
Barry's car.
Yep.
Yeah. Jamie Hancock's big arrival in RVW with a legit Pro Mod car. I mean, it's a very interesting thing, but I do think it's something that our whole sport needs to pay mind to, and keep at least try to understand that it's a double-edged sword. Like all these places to race are great, but it is going to fracture this thing, and it is going to kind of send everybody serving their own master. It's a very interesting dynamic, man. Guys, hell of a show today. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that watched. We had a hell of a crowd today. I appreciate each and every one of you that choose to spend your Wednesday afternoons. It was hard enough for me to convince JT, Mike, and Blake to spend their Wednesday afternoons, let alone all of y'all. So super excited to have you. Yeah, huge shout out to Scott Palmer. Talked to Scott a little bit over the weekend, man. He was over the moon. We got a story that's either out now. Where is it at? Yeah, Scott Palmer. The funniest line of the weekend from the IHRA live stream, down on the big end in the winner circle. He's getting interviewed, right? And he says, they said, what did you do after you win or whatever? And he's like, well, my mom always calls me or whatever. I always call my mom. And he said he called his mom to tell her that he won. And the first thing she said was, your burnout was pretty weak. And I was just like, go mom. Yeah. Go mom. I don't know Scott's mom, but now I want to know her. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I want to know Scott's mom.
That's awesome.
That is a fantastic reaction. That's good. Man. Really, really good.
I bought a gator head.
Why?
It floats. I'm going to put a weight on it and put it in the pond at the golf course and then record people.
I hope nobody's watching that you were hoping to get.
Huh?
I hope nobody was watching that you were hoping to surprise.
Yeah, they're watching drag racing.
They podcast. Dude, if they love you, they'll be like,
dude, we talked a little bit about music today. You know, obviously Mike shut that down immediately, pretty much. But
it did not.
Did not. Just
and then later I brought up a song that you didn't even know, the Route 66.
I know the song, but I just but I didn't think about it. I hadn't thought about it like that, Gosh dang, ball busters here today. But seriously, thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Remember to click like, click share, click subscribe, whatever button you see, just click it. Click all of them. There's one that looks like a bell. Click that son of a bitch for sure. And then, just click all the buttons as it pertains to what we're doing here, because we need your help. We can't do it alone, man. We're trying to take drag racing to the next level. And I know there's plenty of people that are super satisfied with where we're at, as I'm very content with how far the sport of drag racing has come. But I don't think we're anywhere near the end. Agreed, Stan. It was cool to see basically Pro Extreme back at IHRA. I would honestly argue that would be a better name for the class. If no one names it, they should switch it to Pro Extreme. Because I think it would just be a little bit easier for even hardcore fans to follow. But yeah, man, great week, great show. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you next Wednesday right here on the Drag Illustrator YouTube channel, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time every Wednesday. We love to see you, and we can't wait till that time rolls around again. Appreciate you guys.
Yep. See you next week.
See you, Chadwick. I know Chadwick was in there.